Um, all right, let's start over. What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. Oh my God. Oh my God. Good afternoon and good evening. I'm here today because the last recorded video that I released about Trump being interviewed at the National Association of Black Women, or National Association of Black Journalists. Yeah, the NABJ. And a lot of people didn't get it. They didn't understand. I feel like some people watched the entire interview and then made their comment completely out of text. Then there was some that did that and then didn't listen to me. And then there's some people that just can't listen and they should just die off. And I'm also concerned that a lot of my people are unable to hold two truths in their mind at the same time and realize they don't conflict. You know, it's like you could hate somebody and still proclaim something truthful about them that's not hateful. You know, but a lot of my people, I'm realizing, don't have this capacity. They just don't have it. Don't have it. Just don't have it. That's concerning. I'm also here because Amber Rose spoke at the Republican National Convention. For what? For what? I don't know a whole lot about Amber Rose. My knowledge of her and why she exists is very, very, very limited. To me, she's huge sunglasses that I hate and a close blonde haircut that I also hate, and some hideous tattoo across her forehead that sends me straight to surgery. I can't with her. I don't know. And then way too tight clothes. I mean, I don't know why she's famous. I feel like she also was somehow involved with Kanye West or something back when I don't know. I don't know the chick. But I know enough about her to speak on her now and in this context. I'm also here because Black people, well, we're always being played. And we're certainly getting played now. But we're being played in a way that is more saturated, but particularly Black males are very concerning to me right now. And I saw rumblings of this particular issue back when Trump became president the first time. You know, the analogy that I was trying to give before I realized my sound was some bullshit was the analogy of marbles. Like you got a bowl of marbles and you're going to pour them out on this table, but you don't know the table is slanted. You don't know it. So when you pour the marbles out on the table, oh my God, they start rolling. And you're trying to get them. You're trying to get the marbles, you know, and you get a lot of them, but a lot of them roll off the table. And that's how I place Black people and my relationship to my people at this chapter in my life. That I am the one trying to gather the marbles. That I need all the marbles, and I realize I can't get all the marbles. I can't. That's how I feel. You know, say something.
That's how I feel.
Oh,
You know,
and I also had the opportunity to see, because in our last sitting, I dealt with the Sonia Massey case. And I've now also have seen what I believe was some portion of the memorial for her, where Woodstock spoke. You know him as Al Sharpton. That would be Woodstock. And or whatever that bird is from Charlie Brown. Just that's him. Um, we're in such a state, and he actually had the audacity to say at this thing, how long are we going to let this continue? And I just thought, aren't you supposed to be some national leader in high quotations? Because you're not a leader. You're definitely not my leader. You're not a leader of black people. You're not. You're not. You can't have a show on MSNBC and be in the grace of white people and white corporation and be a leader of black people. You can't. You can't. Not in this climate. If white people don't hate you, you're not the leader. You're not. At least if most of them don't hate you, you're not the leader. You're not. You're not. You're not. Because we see what they do when you're actually a leader. You see, you're not. You don't have a show on MSNBC. Louis Farrakhan. Do you understand? So, but there he was asking this rhetorical question, and I just thought, you have an organization and publicity, you know, like nobody has the courage to step to the mic and make a demand and an or else and say, this is the last one. Because, excuse me, if another one happens, this is what we're going to do. Not we're going to ask and wait. Here's what we're going to do. This will be our answer. This is our or else. So now it's on you. Don't do it. Don't start none, won't be none. You do it, here's what's going to happen. And you follow through. You follow through. Just like the white devil did when he murdered Sonia Massey. I'll shoot you in your fucking face, he said to her. And he did exactly that. Shot her in her fucking face. That was a you do this and I'm going to do this. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. That's what happened. That's what happened. It's part of what happened. But that happened. So I, as I always am in a state of rage. Oh, I didn't see the blue light. In a state of rage, and I'm also enraged that black people aren't enraged. That also makes me enraged. You know, I finally got through this 3 hours plus of Cat Williams being interviewed by Joe Rogan. It was a hard watch because I'm no fan of Joe Rogan. His head is as big as his studio. Have you seen the profile on this dude? I mean, anyway. But so that was a hard watch, but it was also a hard watch because Cat Williams speaks very, very slowly and patiently. Those are all very good qualities, but not when I got 3 hours. I'm trying to see what the fuck you've said. All right, push it along, push it along. All right, move it along. You know, but I mentioned him because first of all, Cat Williams is quite brilliant. And I mean that to the definition of the word, brilliant, illuminating, standing out, bright, brilliant. He smokes way too much weed, and disrespectfully so, because Joe Rogan wasn't smoking weed and he was literally blowing the smoke right into his face. I just thought, when's he going to say something, you know? But he educates himself to a degree that I don't think I was fully aware of or fully appreciated. I knew of it. I'd heard rumblings. I've heard rumors. And then I've seen different little things, little vignettes. But then it was the Shannon Sharp thing that he did, where he broke the internet. But then that was made me want to see this, because it was the subject matter, the original, what was supposed to be original subject matter. He was speaking about the ancient Egyptians, and but his knowledge of things goes. I appreciate his knowledge because he's like me. I can know something about something, but I also know more of the backstory than most people are going to bring up or are aware of. They just know the surface stuff if they know anything. Little incidental references that Joe Rogan was making, he was on the level and was able to even go further than whatever Joe Rogan was saying. But you know, I just wonder, even like somebody like him, and I hear good things about him, about how he really does stand in for Black people. You know, I appreciate his business acumen as well as his business model. And all those things, but like, you're Cat Williams, why aren't you leading some shit? Where's the leadership, everybody? And then bringing us back to Black men, they played Black men in whatever year Trump was elected, 2016, and they're playing them again. I don't know if brothers have some need to feel important or some shit, or like I'm a person individually. I am self supported. Like, I don't need you to validate me. It's not shit you're gonna say to me that I already know about myself. I don't need anything to animate me or to comfort me. I'm really content as a human being. I really am. I don't have any psychotic you know, need for stuff outside of myself, and that's not my world. But I'm seeing some degree of population of brothers who apparently have this need. Like, it begins with this competition that I've mentioned in the past, about this competition between Black men and Black women. For what? Like, why are you trying to compete with sisters? For what? Why is that even an issue or a topic? You know, just brothers are so fragile and so soft and cowardly and feminine and womanly and girly and frightened and unbrave, and cookie cutter, needy. It's just I rarely run across or observe brothers that you go, that's just solid brothers right there. Like, my heart is content, I can move on. We good over in that area, so let me move to some other issue. Let me go to something, you know. It's just, I can't. From even their physical presentation, I've watched in my own life how it has metamorphed, you know, trendy and shit, and not in a good way, you know. I like, it's just but to bring myself back from the ledge. You know, on one hand, on the Democratic side, they try to make it seem like black women are the holy grail of voting, and it's all about the black woman. And thank God for the black woman, because or else it wouldn't be a Democratic Party. That's their messaging. Then on the Republican side, it's this, they're playing to this psychological bullshit with black men because a lot of niggas don't want no job no damn way, aren't interested in being responsible, and just all the negative shit that we've heard and know about. There's that. Well, they're playing to that with the educated and the uneducated. You know, I personally had conversations in 2016 with a brother that, it was a couple of brothers. It was a group of brothers actually. And one of them was just really over the moon, talking about my brother didn't have no job, and once when Trump became president, my brother got a job. They're just so wrong on so many levels. While you're wearing fucking tight jeans and those fake dreads that just look like yarn has been twisted, like just two things have been. I cannot even look at it. But it's so many things he didn't understand. But it was also frustrating for me that messaging had gotten through. It's like, damn, you got the virus. You know, that's how I feel about black people that I know about or meet, that they don't understand blackness and what that means. You know, you just feel like, damn, you got the fucking virus. Damn, you know. It's like the plague. Somebody, they gotta go away now. You gotta quarantine them. They can't be near you, and they have to go. You know, that feels like that to me. But there he was proclaiming this, not understanding that presidents don't create jobs. Only the private sector produces jobs. Everybody. If the government has created a job, that means you have a government job, bitch. That's what it is. That's it. If the government says they created 18,000 jobs, that didn't mean at McDonald's. You understand? So if you don't have a government job, that means there was no job created for you. There wasn't. Only way governments can create jobs without it being a government job is, I'll give you an example. Let's say the government pours money into something in your city, an arena or a park or a housing structure or something. But now you're getting to the state level. I'm trying to keep it to federal to give you an example. But let's just say they give the funding, but it's not going to be a federal thing. Like it's, in other words, your check won't say something from the federal government. It will say, John's building or something. You know what I mean? And then of course, at the state level, you have more job creation than, because you're at your local and state level, they can give contracts to they can sell land to McDonald's so that McDonald's can build a McDonald's there, and so you can get a construction job building this McDonald's, and that McDonald's will pay you, and then you can get a job at McDonald's. So that becomes a job creation. Or they say we're paving all new roads through all the zip codes in the state, so then that's going to be state money, so then that's a job. But government, the U.S. government doesn't create jobs. So when you have presidential candidates up in front of you telling you they created jobs, it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And then don't get me into the unemployment numbers versus the numbers that aren't counted. That's a whole something else, you know. But brothers seem to be buying into this, and then black people in general seem to not be understanding that you're buying into this schoolyard psychology of, well, black people always vote for Democrats, so you automatically think you're supposed to vote for a damn Republican. For what? No, you just don't vote. Damn. And the psychology should never work, because they don't say that to anybody else. They don't. But everybody else, most others, vote as a block in their own personal interest. You see? So if Trump was saying, if we'd seen him in 2016, and, you know, in his first term, if he had done reparations, or he had, you know, they had done something specific for black people, then we should be pushing our federal leaders and congressional people at that level to put pressure on them for what we want. And they pressure the president saying, I can't get this constituency to you if you don't sign this. Now we're going to put this bill together and you can sign this shit. And that's how you see them up there signing shit for Latinos and signing shit for the fucking Asian people and signing people for everybody else other than our black ass. But my bigger point on that is to say that we don't need to feel bad for voting for Democrats. You only got two choices. I say one, because they're just playing good cop, bad cop. But if we want to go with the illusion that there's two parties, then you only have one choice. Two choices. Either you vote for the Democrat or you don't vote at all. If the Democrats talking about something that feels like it will benefit us, then you can vote for them. If they're not, then you just don't vote. That don't mean you go vote for the fucking people that are only for white people. That's it. That's what the Republican Party is for. White people. Angry ass white people. Racist ass white people. They'll give you their conservative about family values. They got all this other vomit language that they pepper it with, but it doesn't mean anything. The Democratic Party used to be the Republican Party until too many black people, then they had to have a Republican Party. Wherever we go, they run while trying to be us. They the same people at every level, no matter what they're doing or articulating. They are the same people. You understand? But let's be very clear. For whatever the Democrats aren't doing for black people, at least they put up the illusion of inclusion. You know, like, where they say fake it till you make it. And they're very good at that. I mean, the Republicans have never, ever, 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 ever had a woman as the nominee of their party. Well, the Democrats did. They had the sniper fire bitch in 2016. There she was. Nobody wanted her, but she was the nominee of the party. The Democrats are the only ones that have had a black male as president. The Democrats are the ones who have put a black woman on the Supreme Court. There's a black heifer right now that is the press secretary. Can't stand her. Don't got shit in common with her. To me, she ain't black, but there she is. And there's other examples of things that you go, oh, well, they seem to be trying to be for everybody. Fake or not, that's not the issue. I'm saying this is what they've done. We can get into their reasonings and all that. I'm giving you just surface, tangible shit that you could look at. and go, this one is different than that one. Stay with me. But the Republicans have never done that. No women, nobody that's not white. We hear their language. It's very hostile. They're anti-everybody, you know. And just anybody that's so-called black trying to make up some reason to vote for their ass is just you're just full of shit. You just are. You just are. You just are. They've not done anything, nor have they made any promise to you. And don't give me economics, because as a people, we always been broke as shit. That's part of the design. You understand? It's one of the main things that both parties agree on. Keep the niggers broke. Don't do anything for them. They agree on that. Both parties. Do you understand? So, but black men are being seduced in a way that is dangerous. And many of them, I would even argue most of them, who would even be seduced into a vote for any Republican, not just Trump, don't have the emotional wherewithal or the emotional storage to be able to deal with the unreality of that once it's revealed to them, you know. And unless they're somebody that's going to lie to themselves, you know, a lot of people engage in that just lying to themselves. I don't understand that type of human being at all. At all. Like, you know, there was some bastard that did this video that I was telling you about. And I literally said to him, because he was trying to say, you know, he showed some clip of some brothers in a barber shop. And they were asking you, do you think Donald Trump is a racist? And this was the thrust of his video. And he's trying to make it seem like Trump hasn't done anything racist and this and the third, but he could name Biden's shit. I'm like, well, fact number one, Donald Trump settled a lawsuit back in the 1980s for deliberately not renting his housing and apartment units to black people. That's a real thing of public records. You can go and watch, and you can go and research the information for yourself. He also took out full op-eds in the New York newspaper to asking to bring back the death penalty for the Central Park Five, who were innocent. They were teenagers at the time. I mean, we can go down the list. Yes, he's a damn racist. He's white. Of course he's racist. Of course. Of course. You know, I'm also sickened and saddened by black people who who don't have any life experience. They only know just they one town or they one block or just the one city they only lived in. They don't know shit about nothing. So they don't know white people or anybody else, quite frankly. But they definitely have the wrong understanding of racism. You know, of course, white people are racist. Of course. And that comes in all kinds of articulations. It don't got to be them calling you a nigga. It don't got to be them burning a cross on your lawn. It don't. There's many, many other things that they do all the time, round the clock, 24/7. Period. And as I've challenged anyone who's ever heard me on the earth, I've always said, show me now the white movement that is out in the streets marching and protesting and getting legislation on behalf of just black people with no black people involved in it. Show me that. Show me. Show me. Just show me. Just show me. But they can always be counted on to show up with their backpacks on when you're out marching and protesting when somebody has been shot and murdered. Here they come. Allies and all of it. There's been no spontaneous, independent, white struggle on behalf of Black people. There hasn't been, and there won't be. That's really all the evidence I need. I really don't need shit else. I really don't. So this same group of Black people that I'm describing now, particularly brothers, but just in general, would be the same ones who you would hear bitching now that Obama didn't do anything. Because again, they're ignorant and they don't understand that after 233 years of this being a white supremacist ass existence, they came here to steal the damn place. It started off as a theft. That now suddenly, and they've put everything in place deliberately to hold your Black ass back. There's even neighborhoods where they built highway overpasses low so that the buses and trucks couldn't get under them. That's deliberate. This is how deep their evil goes. But you still have dumbass Black people who think that suddenly because Barack is elected, he's going to come, he's going to do something. No, he's just holding the store for massa. This still is their damn country. It's still theirs. You know, it's like somebody comes and stays at your house. It's only so much you're going to let them do before you feel like they're just they've taken over your house. And white people are not letting you take over their house. They're not doing that. And they see Trump as their last hurrah. That's the type we need. One that will tell the police that he doesn't have to be careful when he puts their Black ass in the police car. That he needs to be tough on their Black ass. That he'll tell the NFL owners they need to fire those damn Black people who would dare to protest their own oppression. And on and on. Don't let them give you policy. And he says what he thinks. No, he says what you think, bitch. That's what it is. He's saying shit out loud you wish you could say. That's what it really is, isn't it? Isn't it really? Because apparently white people don't love you just saying what you feel, so they don't just love that, because I have a whole channel of 23,000 people that was shut down. And I always say what the fuck I think. So why am I not president? How come I'm not elected already? Where's my inauguration? Where is it? Come on, man. Again, these are just anecdotal statements and little rehearsed lines that they put in place, trying to unsuccessfully, to someone like myself, unsuccessfully mask their raw racist asses. That's what it is. But Black males are being seduced by this, and it's very concerning to the Jedi. They somehow think that not understanding that anything that Trump did, they bitch ass is only living under it now. Because all that jobs numbers and the low inflation and the low unemployment, all that stuff was Obama's 8 years. Remember, he did 8 years. Eight. And presidents don't do something today and it's done today. Ooh, there, I fixed it, it's done. Every president is always still living on some of the shit that the previous one did. He came into nothing but goodness. You see? And he did exactly what white people do. They come to a land where people are literally waving at them from the shore, murder them off, and proclaim that they founded it. No, it was always me. His wife recites the exact fucking speech that Michelle Obama gave and proclaimed it her own. This is what we see from white people. Steal everything and proclaim it to be yours. Everything. So these unsophisticated brothers don't understand that while they were bitching Obama didn't do anything, what they're giving Trump praise for is exactly what Obama did. How ironic is that? You see? And then Trump used it because when he came in and his dumb supporters, he comes in, he was saying the whole time on the campaign trail, we're going to build a wall. And then the day after he's inaugurated, so we got that done. And people believed it. Like, he did it. He did. Just the fact that he's inaugurated now means to their white ass, he did everything he said he was going to do. They think he did it already. He did it. He did it. Poof, it's done. They believe that. He did it. They really believe that the country was, and this one that sends me, the country was so divided under Obama, they claimed. So divided, really. Because even before his white ass was elected, I don't see nothing but a sea of white motherfuckers at his rally. That's all I see. But before Obama was even elected, the sea of people is a sea of America. It's old, it's Latino, it's young, it's black, it's African, it's Asian, it's name anything. It's there. His cabinet looked like that. But Trump comes in and it's all just fucking white people. Even the Secret Service detail changed to white. White only. You'd be pressed to find black agents on his detail. Certainly when he was elected in 2016. So what is it could be in this for any black male or any black person, but specifically black men? What could be in it for you to vote for a white Republican? Not a damn. Then I hear black people jumping on the immigration issue so heavy over the last, we'll say from Biden to now, we'll say, certainly the last 4 to 8 years, suddenly black people are concerned about immigration in a way that I didn't hear before. I never would really hear black people talking about immigration. It don't really mean nothing. And finally, I heard somebody say the other day, what is a black job? In fact, we're going to see the part of the rest of that exchange with Trump, also the Amber Rose thing. But I mention it because somebody said, what is a black job? And that was a very good question. I don't know how seriously they meant it or whatever. I think it got some laughs when they said it, but that was an important question. What is a black job? Because when I first started hearing black people talk about immigration, it was always from the standpoint, they come here, they're taking our jobs. What job do they take from your black ass? What? Which one? Which one? Which one? And specifically them taking it from you. Because that suggests that there was a job here for you that the Latinos that are already here didn't take. And apparently the white people didn't take it and the Asians didn't take it. Nobody took it. But damn it, here comes these immigrants. They're going to take that job that's been just sitting there with nobody else taking it. They're taking that job now. Look, they just took it. They just did it. They did it right now. You saw it. They took it right now. What job is that? Now, I'll give you some things, with the thing in New York with, they're giving them all kinds of, they're staying at fabulous hotels and they're getting, financial assistance and things like that. I'm here with you on that. But I offer to you that is a separate thing. That's separate. That's separate. Because ask yourself, when you drive down most American streets or cities and you see the construction crew, is it going to be white or Latino? White or Latino? Where are the brothers going for these construction jobs? Where are they? Because I can always count on a sister driving a city bus. I don't care where I'm at in the country. You see a city bus coming, look, it's going to be a sister. That's Keisha. There she go. There she go. You know. So, but they also have something that brothers aren't willing to articulate. You want to get your black ass on the job, and it's just your job. Jorge gets the job, and he's bringing fucking Jose and Reynaldo and Ernesto, and he's bringing everybody in. You get the job, it's just your tired black ass. You're not trying to get no other brothers on or sisters. And that goes across our culture. Doesn't matter what the job. Everybody's out for self. Nobody's willing to articulate unity. That means you might get the job and I might not. And I need to be happy about that. If you don't have that in your heart, you are the wrong human being completely, and you need to die off. Do you understand? That's where you got to get. That's where you got to get. That's where you got to get. You got to look at culture. You got to look at their whole culture is set up different from yours. Their culture gives them an advantage over you that don't have shit to do with them coming over here illegally or anything else. It's 118 in California. 100. I don't know if it's 118 today, but it's been 118. Let's see what the thing is. It's 110 right now. But still, you can go right now and you'll see Latinos somewhere on corners, flowers, or they've set up these stands where they're selling the ice cream and the horchata and the other cold bebidas that they sell, or they'll have tamales or something. I just watched a whole documentary the other day about the taco wars that are going on. And I think it was just for California. Don't quote me. It was focused on California. But, you know, I know how Latinos do business. I do. I know how they do business. I know how they do business. I know. And, but to go back, I'm saying like, you won't see nobody black anywhere right now out in 110-degree heat selling anything as a group or as an individual. You see? So let's not bitch at the immigrants. You understand? Once you get your whole stuff tight, then you can bitch about the immigrants. If you feel like you just need something to bitch about, it still won't be valid. But, and don't get me started on the African immigrants that are coming here. It doesn't matter if they come here illegally or legally. It don't matter. They're going to outshine your ass anyway. And they have jobs you're not even trying to get. I watched a whole documentary about some Kenyans. Again, goes to culture and unity. Culture and unity. These Kenyans, that are in, I feel like Wisconsin or something, some state where you're like, why are y'all there? And they're homeless. But the Kenyans all go to this specific park. So even the homeless Kenyans stick together. That's one. Then you have a Kenyan organization that was set up by Kenyans to help homeless Kenyans. Culture and unity. And then you had in that, when you realize most of these brothers that were homeless, engineers, electrical, finance, banking, all shit that equals Mercedes in the driveway and at least 5-bedroom house type stuff. You feel me? There's another group of Kenyans. I think there's 8 or 18 of them. Got together in Atlanta, bought up a big plot of land that's going to make millions for them. They all put in I think like $5,000. And they had the blueprints. They've already gotten all their permits and all the shit. It's go. It's some big community that's going to be affordable living. Very nice. The location I saw, it was very impressive. You would want to live there. But they came together. You see, years ago when I had my business, when I started my brick and mortar, there was another brother that I found out. One of my customers told me that, hey man, it's this, because he knows how I am. He's like, hey man, it's his brother to open up a fish place. Whoop-de-woo where? Boom. I immediately went there to go support the brother. Immediately. That's it. A brother just opened a business. Let me go support. And that's gonna be my new spot. That's how I am. I'm just like that. That's just it. So I know it's natural. So when you don't do that, that means you're on some bullshit and you're doing the other shit on purpose. And I don't make any excuse for you at all. You'll get no grace from me. It's on purpose. And all you get from me is an indictment. That's it. And then I was trying to come together with him because where he opened his business was a shopping center. My business was in a shopping center, but they were all taken. But where he was at, there's a liquor store, there was a barbershop and him, and then there was like 4 or 5 retail spaces that were available. And I'm like, we could run this barbershop up out of here, or at least turn it black. We could intimidate the liquor store up out of here, and we could own this whole thing. Let's make this a black thing. But it was a problem once he knew I was a Muslim. Bullshit. You see? Them same people who would vote for Trump in some fantasy don't understand a principle that he himself practices. While he is definitely a white nationalist, because he said it himself, I played you the clip. People say I'm a nationalist. I guess I'm a nationalist. I'm a nationalist. And he just walks away from the microphone like, I don't know what I'm doing. That bullshit. But the message is out. You understand? And I've already cited at least 2 of his racial indictments. You see? But that's the same motherfucker that will still put his hand around a black person and be grinning if it's something in it for him. And black people don't know how to do that. I saw this Charles White person saying in something I saw on him recently. He cited where one white person had done something. I can't be against them. I had a white person, this white dude did something. I can't be against them. No, nigga, you can just not be against that one white ass that was some fake bullshit and a blessing from God. But see, that's how black people do. One of them does something good. They're all good. That's it. But one black person does something, it's all black people. You're the problem. You are. You understand? It's you. It's you. It's you. You are the problem. Because the bastard that I told you that did the video and couldn't find anything negative to say about Trump, and I gave him the receipts, was singing the same. He has pictures of himself with Al Sharpton. He has pictures of himself naming all these sellout coon people that are like, so you're not even culturally aware, you're not self-aware, you don't know his history, you're just a total idiot in every single way. But there he was. I know that about him. There he was giving Michael Jackson a tour through one of his casinos or his hotel or something. Was very cozied up with Michael Jackson. You know, but that's, of course, that's Michael Jackson, the most famous human being on the planet Earth. The most racist white person on earth in their damn Klansman outfit would have been cozying up with Michael Jackson if they could. Of course. You see? So, but the level of misunderstanding, because what you're going to do, you vote for Trump and you don't get a job. What you think you suddenly get a job because Trump becomes president when he's against everything that could possibly help you and your family out anyway? Again, they only think about their own ass. So most of them got a grandmama or auntie or grandfather somewhere. This dude wants to cut Social Security and Medicare. So you don't even give a fuck about your grandmama now. Again, it's just about your own pathetic black ass. That's it. That's it. You see? No culture, no unity. We don't have it. We don't have it. I'm going to come back to that. I want to first deal with this Amber Rose piece because this is the perfect example of, and she's not really the best example because while I don't know why she's famous, I assume she has at least one coin. At least. She has access to coins some type of way, at least. You know, so like, but why are you here, miss? You know, but she's being used. She's being used because the moment she says something about anything that these people don't like, she gonna understand why she's a dumb bitch. Like that. Like that. It's a crime, dude. It's a crime. Let's see her speech because it's very short and we can react to that. Then I'll come and see who's here and we'll start our rhythm. I'm going to try to not talk at all while she's speaking. No, I can't do that. Y'all know I can't. I'll try because I need to run the air because I told you it's 110. What I need to do? Amber Rose. I think this is the one. We're about to find out. All right, see this tragedy now.
Please welcome Amber Rose from South Philadelphia.
Hello, my name is Amber Rose. I'm a model and entrepreneur.
And I feel like she got younger than I remember because I haven't even laid eyes on her in a very long time even because my eyes hurt when I look at her. And I've been hospitalized 3 times for that. I don't want to get into it, but I feel like she got younger. All right, shut up.
Please welcome Amber Rose from South Philadelphia.
Hello, my name is Amber Rose. I'm a model and entrepreneur. Thank you. But most importantly, I'm a mother. My whole world revolves around providing for my children, keeping them safe, and giving them an opportunity for a better life. That's something that unites all American parents, whether we're Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, or liberals. We all want a better country for our children. But I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump president of the United States.
Because didn't they have the child income tax credit something that we had right at the beginning of Biden, I think, or anyways, whatever that tax credit went away. Remember, they were like, it lifted so many black kids immediately out of poverty like that. That vanished. They never. So y'all couldn't have got that going. I mean, but the best parents we have for our kids, according to Amber and her tattoo, go on.
Liberals, We all want a better country for our children. But I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump president of the United States. Now, you may be wondering why I'm up here telling you this. I'm no politician and I don't want to be, but I do care about the truth. And the truth is that the media has lied to us about Donald Trump. I know this because for a long time I believed those lies, so I'm here to set the record straight. The first person I knew who supported Donald Trump was my father. I was shocked. My entire family is racially diverse, and I believed the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. My father said, "No, he's not, Amber. What are you talking about?" And when I insisted, he said, "Prove it." So to prove my father wrong, I did my research and looked into all things Donald Trump. People have to do their research. I watched all the rallies, and I started meeting so many of you, his red hat wearing supporters. I realized Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love. And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong. So I let go of my fear of judgment, of being misunderstood, of getting attacked by the left, and I put the red hat on too. Thank you. Love you too. I never felt more free and more love for my country than I do now. I want to thank my father, who's in the audience tonight, for opening my eyes. He served over 20 years in the U.S. military. Thank you for your service, Dad. I love you, Dad. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you. When I met the president and Melania for the first time, he was kind and generous and funny as hell. Very funny. The First Lady was gracious and smart with a smile that will brighten up any room. If you're watching this tonight, you know our country is in trouble. Just like me. When you go to the store and buy food for your family, you're shocked. When you fill up your gas tank, you're pissed. I know I am. And when you turn on the news, you are just exhausted. Inflation is out of control. And you know in your heart it was not like this under Donald Trump. My message to you tonight comes from a humble place. The left told me to hate Trump, and even worse, to hate the other side, the people who support him. When you cut through the lies, you realize the truth. American families were better when Donald Trump was president. We were safer, wealthier, and stronger. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote to put money back in our pockets and good food on our kids' plates. Yes. Or, as Trump would say, it's a vote to make America great again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wait now. You heard her say in there that she's never been proud of her country than right now. It was either that or I've never been prouder as an American than right now. Something to that effect. You remember that Michelle Obama, they were ready to bomb her house because she said the exact same thing when Obama was running for president. She goes, I've never felt more proud of my country than I do right now. Or I've never felt more like an American than right. Something to that effect. And they brought the house down on her. Hold up. Turn it off. And you also heard her cite that her research was she watched all of his rallies. Well, she really burned the midnight oil for that. Oh, we have to give it over to her for that alone. I mean, she's such a scholar and a researcher on a level that we're just not ready for. We're just not ready. We just don't have it. We don't have it. Amber has it, everybody. You don't have it. It's Amber. I mean, you know, and this was some let me bond with my father type stuff. By the way, also, I don't know if my sound was still messed up at the time, but I told you guys I'm having a beard issue right now, so don't notice me. Don't look at me. All right, I'm having a beard issue because I'm letting this grow in. I usually shave it, you know, clean it up down here, but I'm letting all this grow in, so it looks like a disaster, but it doesn't look well on camera. So don't notice that. That was clearly just someone being put up to say Amber Rose even supports Donald Trump. She's trying to bond with her father, who they didn't show. I assume he's not a black man. And it was just nothing but a shiny object. It was just imagery. That's all that was. There was nothing else to it. There was nothing else to it. Nothing. Nothing at all. It's completely empty. And you know, she's talking about how every time she's pissed every time she fills up her car. What is she filling up? Who knows what Amber Rose drives? Who knows what she drives? You see, and I'm sure some of the women out there could tell us what purses she's carrying. You know, the bags she's carrying. You know, I mean, I can't get there, dude. I cannot get there. Let me quickly see who's here, and before we go into this next segment. Black Beauty, always a big shout out to you, Queen. Thank you for always standing by my side. Just a general shout out also to all my moderators. Big shout out to you guys. Melanin 100, a big shout out to you, Queen. Black Winter, it's been a minute. Good to see your name. Carlos, a big shout out to you, my friend. I love that Black Winter. I see you told somebody call him. The sound was bad and I didn't know it. Oh man. I love it. The Melanin says, anyone take bets on how long it takes until he notices? We got lucky because y'all know I will go. Sweet D, a big shout out to you, Queen. Ray Supreme, a big shout out to you, brother. Sweet D, you say Meg twerking at Kamala's event. Glad you mentioned that because I did see that. I'm so sick and tired of it, man. First of all, I'm glad she was there because that's good for somebody else that does not live in my world at all. You know what I mean? So I think that was held in Atlanta, that event. So for people who got a chance to go and they saw her live, they didn't have to buy a ticket. That was good for them. And there's some positives so I could just cite, but it meant nothing for me. And I'm sick and tired. Black woman, I speak for a lot of brothers when I say this next statement. We are sick and tired of the special effects. Sick and tired of it. That speaks for many black men. Now I speak for just me, the Jedi, to say that I value and appreciate a sister that has her own individuality. I am sick and tired of the cookie cutter chick with the fucking helmet hair, the center part, the little baby hair, arcing the back way too much, doing all of this. This is the Meg the Stallion. That's all she was doing up there, is this exact body language that I'm talking about, that I hate so much. If it was just one or two sisters, you'd be like, oh, that's kind of endearing, it's kind of cute. But this is just send you straight to the hospital to be watched very closely by specialists, you know. And I'm just trying to say, man, I don't care where you at in your own town or your job or whatever you do, any sisters that would hear me, especially if you're single, I promise you, you got more brothers' eyes on you if you just express an individual, natural black beauty. Just do that. And watch your DMs go up. Watch dudes coming and giving you their number, hollering at you, whatever you want to say. That will all go up, I promise you. Because it's nothing now. Like, you see a sister, I just seen 50 chicks today that look like you. You're not special. It don't mean nothing. It don't. This is also why I don't understand why brothers go, you know, cheat. You went from one woman to the next. Mom, what you looking for? Because they all got the same anatomy. Ain't like one gonna have like a cape on it or something. What are you looking for? What are you doing? What's your issue? You know, so this is kind of that for me. Like, I mean, where is just, you don't even remember sisters that you've seen if you didn't get their name, because they all look the same. They all look the same. They're all articulating the same. There's no uniquity where I would just remember you and fantasize about you and be thinking about you and just dreaming up all kind of stuff about you. It just wouldn't be. I'm just speaking for me right now. You know, like, just, I can't, man. I can't. Oh, wait, I'm getting off now. So I'm glad you mentioned that Meg the Stallion. Thank you, Melanin, I think it was, or Sweet D. Sweet D, yeah. Yeah, nobody should take Al Sharpton seriously. Because remember, he was hated by white people. He was hated by them back in the day. How does he have a show on MSNBC? I've been saying this for years. How does he have a show? Ray Supreme, you say you should check out Dr. Ray Higgins. I might know him and just not know the name. I'm real bad with names, Ray, but I'll check it out. He does live stream every Sunday about African empowerment. Okay. Cheryl, a big shout out to you, Queen. It's King Jedi. Sweet D, you say, I need my strong Mandingo brother. Right, and that needs to be one that's not woofing at you. You feel me? He needs to be woofing. And here comes Cheryl. And Obama ain't do shit for Black Americans. What was I just saying a little while ago? I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. William Worth. Get real, seduced, simp. Don't know what I just read. You might want to expand on that, William. Righteous indignation. A big shout out to you, Queen. You say can't spell hatred without red hat. Ah, girl, bye. Let's make Africa great again. I approve this message. That's a classic. That's a good one. This thing that we looked at, or this recorded piece that I put out of the Orange Puff at the National Association of Black Journalists. I'll just read some of the comments so you can understand what I have to deal with. While I'm making the charge, I got to turn the air on, you guys. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me. I'll just try and keep my voice up. What am I doing? Oh. I put it on both channels, so let me see. I don't know what channel I'm on now. All right, first let's go to this one. And some of these could be white people, so I've taken that into account. And those ones I just kind of ignore. Grant you, the title was meant to be a little provocative, but I don't really play in that lane. My titles speak to what I'm talking about and what I'm saying. So the title was Trump destroys, or Black journalists destroyed by Trump, or National Association of Black Journalists, something destroyed, something Trump. And yes, I meant that because he did destroy her, because her whole thing was completely off. I'm trying to find, okay, it must have been on the other channel because this one is not. Oh, this person who was a total disaster said, all lies, do your research, Jedi, before you give Trump any credit. He had no receipts. Please. I demonstrated what he did. I don't make a claim without backing it up. So that just falls flat and fails. But again, someone who didn't listen, who does not have the intellectual property, just does not have it. Here's someone else. Oh, this was J9. Said that he wasn't graceful. He's thin-skinned. She remained calm and professional and calmly awaited for him to finish his tantrum. That's not true. In total, he wasn't thin-skinned on this. He was graceful. And she was not professional, J9. If you're here, if you see this later. And a shout out to you. Well. So now, let's see, because it was a very short interview. I don't know if they meant to go longer, but they didn't. Because I remind you, and there was some portions I didn't show you because we didn't need it in what I was, the point I was making on that video. But see this now, because we need to see the rest of it, because I only dealt with the first 5 minutes of it.
As journalists, we use opportunities like these both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand.
And then, I don't know who she's channeling. To inform our reporting. I'm an articulate man. That's too much right there. You feel me? But go ahead.
As journalists, we use opportunities like these both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand the choices that they face in a consequential and historic election year.
Now, this is Gabrielle Union wannabe right here.
NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact check this conversation in real time. You can access that feed on social media. Using the hashtag NABJFactCheck. Again, the hashtag is NABJFactCheck. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time. So let's bring out the former president of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump.
Now, apparently on the other one, it had her full introduction where she mentions, I'm not going to go play it because the only thing you're missing is the part where she talks about how they invited the candidates there and that they had already made provision for Kamala Harris to be invited on a Zoom in September. So now, when he comes out, this is where all the drama begins. Because she does not greet him. Thank you for being here, sir. Just the normal gratuitous pleasantries that you offer to anyone, certainly you're a journalist. This is the National Association of Black Journalists. You've invited this demon into your home. Yes, tear him apart, But there's certain professional norms that you would just go through just gratuitously, even if you don't mean it. You feel me? And she didn't do that. So see this.
Rachel Scott, BBC. Thank you.
And what you don't see is she goes, promptly be seated. When she shook his hand, not nice to meet you, sorry about the wait. Thank you for coming. Nothing. You saw she was just curt. So now, all those, so anyone like whoever it was I was just reading about, saying he wasn't graceful and this and that, he didn't say nothing about it. He goes ahead. He's gonna let it all go.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think.
Mind you, he could have said something right there. He doesn't. It's a non-issue. So he just let it go. Whatever. Let's start with the elephant in the room. A lot of people don't want you to be here today.
It was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Now, that's her opening. I'm not going to relitigate this completely because I've already put out a recorded video and I need to do that video again. I don't need to. But while I'm sitting here for the uncapable, let me put the crutches on you and help you walk through this.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First,
now he has every right to say everything that he ended up saying, because if anybody else, even if there wasn't a political thing, if I was on a show and I went through everything that they put him through, like he was, because the original video is 2 hours and something, or it was almost 2 hours, something like that. And I just had it playing and there was nothing happening for the longest. Anyways, we learned that their sound system was jacked up or whatever. So he was back there waiting for an hour. And so now when I come out, you don't say nothing to me about my weight. That's kind of like, let me make it more easy for you. I'm supposed to pick you up from work at 6 o'clock. I get there at 9 o'clock, 8:30. I drive up. I don't get out and open your door. You get in, I just drive off and start talking about something else. You're going to be like, wait, you're not going to say nothing about the fact I just stood out here for 2 hours and waited on you? You're not going, like, you would have something to say. That's all he's doing. Like, it would have been enough that you already did that. Now you start, this is how you start the question. So I got to deal with this, and you didn't even, how you greeted, you didn't, I mean, it was all appropriate. I wouldn't be defending it if it wasn't.
question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the Black population of this country. I've done so much for the Black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina.
That don't mean nothing, and no, you didn't, and go on.
Which is one of the greatest programs ever for Black workers and Black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and you know, and I say this, historically Black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke. And I say,
And as a people, we should be embarrassed to even have that be an issue. The HBCU shit, I'm sick of hearing about it. I am sick and tired of hearing about it. Because where is all the millionaires, the black billionaires and millionaires that we, just the ones that we can name and know of? Because there's a whole sea of them that we can't. Before we even get into foreign billionaires that live here, that from Africa and things like that. There's enough money in the black community that our schools should be funded. I don't want to hear shit else about an HBCU to another presidential candidate. I'm over it.
them, and I gave them
Yeah,
long.
black folks always screaming education because what they really want is a babysitter. That's really what they want, is a babysitter. They're not really concerned about the education, because if that was the case, your child, a whole bunch of your child should know before they step inside the building of a classroom. So much things that black children need to be taught and need to learn and be taught long before they ever even know what a school is. So, but I always hear black people talk, but education, or we can't get the SBCUs funded by just us as a people. Nah.
Term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense, and then you said you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working, or something was
President,
wrong.
I would love
think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why.
She wants to interrupt now because he's telling the truth. Like it or hate it, that's the truth. That is the truth. And her tone is shitty. I'm not really mad at the shitty tone, because look who she's talking to. But I'm saying she could have gotten into that.
Invited me under false pretense, and then you said you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working, or something
Mr.
was
President,
wrong.
I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you
I
believe
have
that
answered
black
the
voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President
That's
Johnson,
my
who signed
answer.
the
And
bill.
of course, they've got some coons in the back that are there to scream and holler and respond to anything that he says and support him. We know what that is. So throw that out.
Voting rights.
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to
That was
other
a
questions.
very good summation that he gave, and that last cadence. And for you to start out with such a hostile question after you couldn't get your equipment to work for the last whatever is a disgrace, blah, 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 blah. It's all fair. It's all fair. Now we'll go into the rest of it.
Here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris.
By the way, this is her whole style. She lays out an indictment. Is this what your campaign thinks? Like the first question was, after you've done this for black people, da da da, and now you ask this, just that's her whole thing. Like, is this what your so and so? Is this your campaign? I just found comedy in that alone. Like, I can't with this female. Do you understand? But
on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who was the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you
acceptable language to you?
Tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words.
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define define it for me if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice
What
President
he really meant was, can you give me an example of what a DEI would be? She gave him the definition of DEI, the acronym. He's asking the wrong question. I think he meant, could you give me an example, like what would that look like, so to speak? You know, but this gets good.
Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, like
Now he understood it. Do you think that Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she's a black woman? Now he got it. Now hear this.
say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black
I
woman. She went to a
respect either
historically black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe
I
that
think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask, continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
it's a direct
Now, again, that's the truth. She was Attorney General of my state. First time I ever even knew she existed on the planet was when she started running for the U.S. Senate. I never heard of her before that. And I heard nothing about anything. And a lot of people under Sound of My Voice will know this. Is this going to be true for you the moment I say this right now? We never heard anything about her being any type of mixed anything until she became the vice presidential pick to run with Biden. Because when she was running her own campaign that failed, she didn't even get to Iowa. I know, but I hadn't heard anything about her supposedly being mixed with anything at all. And I made videos and comments back then when she was picked to be his vice president. I made statements then. I pulled up pictures of her parents. The Jedi does his work. But I was making the point back then, like suddenly she's exotic, because I was tying it to a bigger point of any time that any of us does ascend, then they make you exotic, you know, like, and I always gave the example that when Barack was running for president, when he was running for everything he ever ran for, quite frankly, he was just a black dude. But as soon as he won and became the president, I heard and saw white people that I know and see. Suddenly, he was biracial. Before that, he was just a nigga to them. Now he won. Wait, he's biracial. He's biracial. And they start clinging to his mama. They needed that. You feel me? And and so this was the same thing for me. She was just a black woman until she's now going to be vice president. Then suddenly I started hearing all this East Asian, and I'm from Hawaii, and I'm from Asia, and I'm Indian, and I'm from every continent. I just hadn't heard that. So when he said that, that's the truth to me. That's the truth to me. That's a true statement for me. Period. And like he said, I thought she was Indian the whole time. Now, it still doesn't excuse. He still could answer the question whether she's in, because he said he respected both. Still doesn't get him around the question of, okay, fine, she's not a white bitch. So do you, so because she's not white, do you think she only was on the ticket because she was not, that it was a DEI thing, not because she was qualified? That the question can still be valid, but both things can be true. She can still ask that question, and his answer can still be true. Like, I didn't even know she was supposed to be black. And I also take issue with how he says black. Like, you can see it doesn't even come off of him natural. You feel me? The black. Like he's never heard the term or something, and he's wearing black shoes. You feel me? So that was a little grating on me. But again, so But you saw Gabrielle is going in.
Direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I really
Republicans have
don't
said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I
Could be there are some.
know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length, and we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
Well, you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to
He's talking to her over here to the far right. That is the praying mantis from Fox News. That is the praying mantis and the mosquito.
talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we were divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here?
This is what always kills me with this division crap and white people. And these dumbass black people are buying this toxic soup. All you got to do is look at his inauguration photos and look at Obama's inauguration photos, and you'll see who's dividing the fucking country. The prosecution rests. Look at his rallies.
What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is.
He didn't even have a good answer for it because it's a dumb question, really. That's why I mentioned it earlier, citing this. What is a black job? And I've already given my whole, if you just getting to the stream, go back and watch that segment. But, you know.
There's anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President,
they're
can I-
taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the black population, is affected most by that. And Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never even essentially.
She's the worst border czar in the history of the world, he said.
She said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border czar. She's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs. And frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being very badly affected by all of the millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, many of these people are coming in from mental institutions, from prisons, from jails. They're gang members in other countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate is going down, and our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't both.
It's always some sellout ass black person that uses that. That makes that distinction. We're not a monolith. We're all different. Because we're the only fucking people to do that shit. Because what do white people tell you? We're all Americans. While they cannot stand your black ass, they always, but we're all, at the end of the day, we're all Americans. And then your black ass go, but we're all, and you accept that. But I never hear black people say, but we still all black people. And with conviction on it. You feel me? Your differences, your individuality doesn't need to even be cited. That's a given. We know that already. You don't even live in the same house as me. We still black folk. You feel me? That's the way it should be. But this is language of one who's running and trying to be other. Black people that proclaim that shit. You feel me? We're not all the same. We don't all think the same. But we should be the same. Because everybody else is.
is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with Black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
True.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts, and this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single Black moms, when you look statistically. Yeah. How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the Black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation.
And by the way, the inflation would be from him. We're living under his shit now. You see? But then again, remember, they're all the same party, just playing good cop, bad cop. So all those millions and millions of dollars they sent out for stimulus checks, even to dead people. And if you got one by accident, you were allowed to keep it. I mean, so they want their money back. That's why inflation is what it is. You understand? They want their money back. They want it back to it's the fucking slum of shit for everybody, for you to be struggling the fuck out of everything. And by the way, you got these Zionists to thank for that. How many of you did the homework that I put out for you to go and watch this speech by Hitler called Freedom or Slavery that he gave in July of 1922? Excellent speech. You got to hear, man. Why I cite it now is because you'll remember they were calling Bernie Sanders a socialist. And I just thought, why is that supposed to be such a terrible word? What? I know what socialism. We live in a socialist country. When's the last time you paid for trash to be picked up at your house, or for the road to be paved, or for? I mean, it's a lot of shit that just gets done that we're used to. That's socialism. But I mention it because in this speech, we learned that Hitler was a national socialist. He was for the country. But one of the charges that he makes in this speech is that these Zionist people came in. They were taking over the banks. They were taking over the government. They create their own state wherever they live and take over. That was his charge against them. And one of the things he says is that they don't like that. They don't like for there to be help for the people. They don't like that. I can't remember the exact wording, but that's why you have to go and watch the speech, man. It's everything. You got to watch that damn speech. You have to. You have to. So anyways, they're talking about inflation here. So remember, inflation would have been something, it doesn't just like that, but it did kind of go like that because you had, everybody knows everybody got money now. Stimulus checks went out, plus people getting PPP and all the other shit that I can't even name. There's a lot of money that went out. So there was a lot of people out there knowing how to get that money from you. You see? So like I told you, the Arab dude said to me when he took his 50-cent sodas, 50-cent can up to 75 cents. I was like, why wouldn't you just keep it at 50 cents like I told you? He was like, everything go up. Everything go up. No, bitch, it's always up in our damn community. Again, just taking advantage of. That's just the soda. I don't know what else he went up on in the damn store because I don't go there. But anyway, inflation, go on.
I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people, young black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy it because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation is a disaster, and it's destroying our country, and it's destroying the black community probably as much or
So what do
more
you do?
than any
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might, I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls. And then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying, you know, let's keep going and maybe something happens the other way, they said, oh, we're going to replace him. Let's just replace him. That's like you're in a fight. A prize fighter's in a fight. He's not doing what you say. Let's bring in another fighter. So our whole campaign was steered toward him. And now we have to steer it toward him. But ultimately, it's the same because they have bad policy. They have policies of open borders, unbelievable open borders, horrible energy policies. They want to get rid of, as you say, gasoline in cars. They want to get rid of oil. They want to get rid of efficient heating.
Mr. President.
Environmentally, what they're doing is killing our country.
You know, when she says anything, he just does this. Like, shut up, bitch. This dude is funny on so many levels, dude. Like, he's not trying to be funny. I'm sure he doesn't think he's a comedian, but I'm someone, I see humor in a lot of things that probably people just but just notice as soon as you, Mr. President, he's like points out like, shut up, like, you know. It's kind of like, remember Beetlejuice? Whenever somebody was trying to say his name, so he'd send him back, he would do something real quick, so they couldn't say Beetlejuice. And he'd do something to you, so you couldn't say it. This is that for me. Watch the art. Watch the hands.
Efficient heating.
Mr. President.
Environmentally, what they're doing is killing our country. They're absolutely destroying our country. But the inflation is the thing that's hurting the black worker, the black population, and every other population within our country. Inflation is the worst it's been, I think, in over 100 years, and they'll fact check it.
And those people who think those black folks who think they want to support Trump, notice he goes, and every other. He keeps doing that to everything. He can't just stay on black, because if he says just black, he can't. The moment anybody adds anything after your black ass, they're never going to do shit for you, period. You think I'm lying? Any fellas out there, mention some other chick every time you say your wife. I'm going to get you a new purse tomorrow, honey, and so-and-so. You're like, you feel me? Nah. You're not going to get away with that too long. Or any sister. You feel me?
Country. Inflation is the worst it's been, I think, in over 100 years. And they'll fact check it. They'll say it's only 58. Whatever it may be, they don't add all the numbers. They don't add the really bad numbers, and you can check that too. But inflation, Harris, is absolutely destroying this country and the people in our country. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
President, can I ask you another question
Yes,
that is also impacting Black Americans?
And that's very clear now. Good.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay. So Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed Black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah.
Well, knows he'll keep coming back to it. Didn't look good to me. Like that's supposed to be enough for your dumb black ass. if you are a dumb black ass, that should be enough. It didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. That okay, that don't mean nothing. She asked you, do you still think, since you said that police should have immunity, why would somebody who did something like this have immunity? Then now he's like, talking about with the water. It didn't look good to me. And he'll never say, yeah, that was total bullshit. He should go to jail. Woo woo. Not gonna hear it. Go on.
Something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would...
They're going to be charging the officer. I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends.
He said, so why should he receive immunity? He still says, well, he might not. No, you see, dancing and dodging.
It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings.
I already showed you. There's a video on my other channel. I showed you these masks that are highly advanced now. It's a full mask that goes over your head and everything. Totally looks realistic, can totally make you think that that is a person. I'm telling you, this is white people going around shooting black people. I did a whole piece where I broke that down, where I interrogated what were the people and showed that in almost every case that we knew about, they were shot from the back in some position where it looked like they were going away. It was never somebody was facing them and it was an equal fight. It was not. It's always somebody just being shot, man. I'm telling you, it's white people doing this shit. It's white people. No question in my mind about it. No doubt in my mind.
Shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants that.
Say
Nobody.
An outrageous number.
We
again.
need people to
And
protect.
apparently, we only wait till major holidays to just mass kill each other. Apparently.
Ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So,
but you won't go as far as to say, no, somebody like that should definitely not have immunity.
can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those
Well, right now, for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime, or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine
You
an
go
innocent
after
mistake?
somebody and it's a very close call and it's very dangerous. And you know, they have, the policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing because sometimes you have less than a second to make it, life and death.
Again, we don't ever buy into that vomit because I've already proven my case that the most dangerous and most important job, and talking about people making decisions in split seconds, airline pilots have the most important and stressful and quick decision, all that job on planet Earth, period. Because when you're flying at 500 miles an hour and you got 300 people sitting behind you, that's pressure. Give me a break. They'll get no crocodile tears out of me for no damn police. Not on this earth.
The policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing because sometimes you have less than a second to make a, life and death decision. And sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly. I find it interesting because you do talk about reining in prosecutors, especially when it comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of two people that have weaponized our justice system. I've been prosecuted. I just won the big case in Florida. Everyone said that was the biggest case. That was the most difficult case. And I just won it. Now, Biden has a similar case, except much worse.
Completely off the
I was
subject.
protected under
Not
the
reining him back
Presidential Records Act. Biden wasn't, because he wasn't president at the time. And he had 50 years worth of documents. And they ruled that he was incompetent, and therefore he shouldn't stand trial. And I said, isn't that something? He's incompetent and he can't stand trial, and yet he can be president. Isn't that nice?
Mr. President, I
But
want
they
to keep
released
And
him.
isn't it something that you can have nearly 40 felony indictments and be convicted of over nearly 40 felonies, and yet you can run for president? Meanwhile, Raekwon can't even get a job at Walmart if he has even one felony.
On the basis that he was incompetent. They said he had no memory, and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory, and so therefore we're not going to prosecute him. I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We cover you
George
extensively, sir. I'd
Slopadopoulous.
love to move over onto
I
different
didn't notice
topics
you
now.
do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where I
Sir, if
have
you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile
love
judge.
to. We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse
if
you.
we
You're the
can.
one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
I cannot hate on that. Listen, you can't give your enemy comfort or an advantage and then be mad about it. Be mad at them about it for taking advantage of whatever advantage you gave them. In this case, they were late. They did hold him up. She didn't apologize or even address it when he came out at all. Now he's using that against her for the entire damn interview. Now she wants to say we're out of time, or we're running close on time, and so we have to move it along. And he's like, no, because your ass started late, heifer. Don't tell me now about time. I would have said the same thing. Oh my God.
On it, George.
We cover you
George
extensively, sir. I'd
Slopadopoulous.
love to move over onto
I
different
didn't notice
topics
you
now.
do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where I
Sir, if
have
you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile
love to.
judge.
We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse
if
you.
we
You're the
can.
one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
If we can move on now to the state of the race, sir, I want to get back to the campaign. Senator J.D. Vance is your running mate. He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. He's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children. Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children?
Again, it's that same style. Did you know he had these views? Is this what your campaign stands for? Did you such and such? That's her only style. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. And she's obviously been given that assignment. And by the way, this is supposed to be the National Association of Black Journalists. So why is the Fox News bitch up there? That's fine. Even we allow her. That would be the praying mantis on the end. But why then is it doesn't feel like black journalists to me? Like, again, if you're doing the same thing that white people do, then there's no need for you. Period. That's with anything in life. They got, some stadium they want built. You're a contractor. They come to you. The guy before you just bid, $10. I just need a number. They come to you. They go, what can you do? $10. I go, well, then why would I need you? This guy just said you do it for the same price. So I don't need you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what? Why? What? And I can't.
He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch.
And they're never going to serve us at all, because they might be the National Association of Black Journalists, but they're all trying to be seen on MSNBCs, trying to be seen on Fox, trying to be seen on CNN. So you said, and be in with white publications and newspapers and shit. So we don't need you. And I understand that it's mostly women. This national, can't remember. It's a big number, and like I think there might be no men, or like literally like what you count on one hand and be over it. I'm not exaggerating, but this is the National Association of Black Journalists. I have to get you the numbers on that. I was like, what?
And I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. He's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children. Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate? And do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family oriented, and he thinks family is a great thing. That doesn't mean he thinks that if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking about families here. He also says that people that don't have children should get less votes than those that do.
I'm just speaking for myself.
Is that your campaign
I think
position?
I'm speaking for him too. He strongly believes in family, but I know people with great families. I know people with not great families that don't have a family. And the people without the family are far better. They're superior in many cases, okay? He's not saying they're not. What he's saying is that he thinks the family experience is a very important thing. It's a very good thing. But that doesn't mean that if you grow up and you grow older and you don't meet somebody that would be wonderful to meet and would have been good, that that's a bad thing. He's not saying that. My interpretation, you'll have to ask him actually, but my interpretation is he's strongly family oriented, but that doesn't mean if you don't have a family, there's something wrong with it.
Just one last point and then we'll move on. Just one of the bedrock principles of American life is one person, one vote. Senator J.D. Vance has suggested that someone who has children should have more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something I have ever heard before. I can tell you this. Right now, you have illegal aliens coming into our country, many from prisons and many from mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally, and they're taking the vote away from all of the people in this room that have been here a long time, that have worked hard, that in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happen. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening a long time. You're going to see the people in this room and people outside of this room are going to be losing their jobs, the people that have come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of the race right now? Because I felt like that vice president question, candidate question was right in there with that. So let's talk about J.D. Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Why did you choose J.D. Vance?
Why
did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing too. I know everybody out there can, but it's hard to hear.
I'll tell you why. I chose him because he's a very strong believer in work and the working man and woman, and especially the working man and woman who have been treated very unfairly, because you have many of them in this room. But you have many of those people, they were treated very unfairly. They worked very hard and they were treated unfairly. He wrote the book that became a bestseller. The movie became a smash hit. He's a very smart guy without the benefit of having a family that has contacts, like a father that was well connected. He got into Yale Law School. He graduated in 2 years from Ohio State, summa cum laude. I mean, you take a look at, his career has been an amazing career. He started off at a level with a difficult family situation, very difficult with the mother and the father and everything else. He ends up going to Yale Law School and was one of the top students, became the head of the law journal. I mean, it's an amazing thing. He's a 4-year, he was in the military with great distinction for
You remember
4 years.
that Obama was head of the law review at Harvard, and they said that meant nothing on the Republican side. Now he literally points out that this J.D. Vance person was head of the law review at Yale.
Years, got out, went into business, became successful in business, very successful in business, actually. Did public offerings and other things. And I have to believe in that. I mean, he's somebody that was born in a rough situation. Most of the people know that situation because it was very well documented in his book. And I have a lot of respect for somebody that can get into Yale and become one of the best students in Yale, that meets a young woman at Yale who was also outstanding, and they get married, they have a beautiful family. But he had he's made himself an amazing life. He then goes to Ohio, lives in Ohio, and he had my endorsement. That helped. But he wins the Senate. He becomes a United States Senator. So he's a United States Senator. So Harris, like I respect you for your success, I respect people for their success.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot.
Look, and Gabrielle's trying to sit there and look like she's not on fire. She is on fire. Now, the praying mantis mosquito is now trying to go to the sympathy thing. The last time you and I spoke was the day you were shot. It's so predictable, reporter. One of the things I used to crack my family up with growing up is because I've always been able to imitate people my whole life since I was a child. All my family would tell you that. All my siblings, they would all tell you. And one of the first things I used to imitate when I was growing up was news reporters. Something about their cadence, I got it immediately. I just got the note immediately. And it still cracks me up to this day, but you see, she's trying to go to the sympathy route now. Last time I talked to you is the day you were shot. And if you close your eyes when she asked this question, you could almost hear Robin Roberts. If you just need another face that's not hers. You feel me? It's the same shit, man.
We've been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania.
Senator. So he's a United States Senator. So Harris, like I respect you for your success, I respect people for their success.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And 2 days after that,
I cannot understand your microphone.
I know
is so
it is
low.
really hard for me to understand
it's just,
you too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's closer.
I can understand you.
Happy to hear that, sir.
But I can't
Really happy to hear
understand,
that.
Harris,
I have a few more questions.
because of the distance and the mics are really in lousy shape, but I cannot understand
Are you asking a question?
what you're saying.
So what I wanted to say was the last time we spoke.
And he just took her water. His water is over here to the left of the screen. He just took her water. I'll just play it again.
Harris,
I have a few more questions.
because of the distance and the mics are really in lousy shape, but I cannot understand
Are you asking a question?
what you're saying.
So what I wanted to say was the last time we spoke, you said some words that were prophetic because I asked you who you wanted to choose for vice president.
Yeah.
And you said normally it really wouldn't matter what they would bring. You choose somebody that you think has a future, that sort of thing. But you said these words 3.5 hours before an attempted assassination on your life. You told me that bad things happen, Harris. And that's why this decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at J.D. Vance.
How was that prophetic? Somebody got hit by a car while she was saying it, probably. So why does his assassination mean? Again, she's the praying mantis mosquito from Fox News. So we have her MO, but it's so hideous, man. Like, I cannot
think has a future, that sort of thing. But you said these words 3.5 hours before an attempted
And I
assassination.
thought she was really about to proclaim something, like I was going to find something out, and it was nothing. But you said these words, and they were prophetic, just 3.5 hours before that things happen. Who hasn't said that? I mean, get her, dude.
On your life. You told me that bad things happen, Harris, and that's why this decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at JD Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons of what we're talking about, not for vote reasons, but for political reasons, other political reasons.
I don't know if he just didn't hear the question because he's already saying that they can't really hear each other.
Historically, the choice of a vice president,
She's saying, would he be ready on day one?
makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think JD is. I think that all of them would have been, but you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me. If you like me, I'm going to win. If you don't like me, I'm not going to win.
I'm going to get my JD Vance question in.
JD Vance?
I'm going to get my JD Vance question
Sure.
in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he, has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, well, I mean, my
But
point
at
is
least
here.
it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is,
He goes, at least it was said in a friendly manner. I mean, I can't do it.
childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, well, I mean, my
But
point
at
is
least
here.
it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the Republican Party is getting a little bit too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what JD Vance is saying?
I don't think, look, I think that the Democrat Party,
Again, National Association of Black Journalists. Where is the question of how come the Republican Party has never had a standard bearer of their party who wasn't white? Why has there never been a woman? Even rhetorical shit that he's against, but cause some scandal right here. How would you be willing to sign a reparations package and then really hammer him down about why he doesn't think black people should get reparations? Since you claim you're so after the black vote, why didn't you pick a black running mate? I mean, there were so many other questions that they could have done. They're asking all the shit that you would hear on MSNBC or Fox News, just the shit that white people would ask. This don't mean nothing at all. At all. At all. So if this is what they're asking him and he's the opposition, they're just going to ask Kamala, what nail polish does she use?
Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing the
But
death.
I think it's
They're
about
allowing
freedom,
the
right?
death of a baby after the baby is born, based on
Sir,
the
that's
governor
illegal
of Virginia.
in every state in the
That's-
country.
Based on the governor of Virginia,
Executing a
they're
baby in
allowing the
every
death
state
of
in
the
the country
baby
is illegal.
after it's born.
It's a
They're
crime.
allowing abortions in the 8th and 9th month. of
Well, Democrats
pregnancy.
have denied.
I think they're right. And I
That's
think
the
the
thing.
Republican Party is actually much less. I think I've made them much less radical, perhaps. But the Republican Party, what we're doing is bringing it back to the states where everybody wanted it. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservative, everybody wanted abortion brought back. They didn't want Roe v. Wade in the federal government. They wanted it, everybody
But the
wanted
majority
it
of
back.
Americans oppose
Excuse
Roe
me.
v. Wade being
They
overturned.
They
Multiple
don't know
polls have showed
about
that,
this.
sir.
Right now, they're voting. It brought it back to the states. Now, I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Ronald Reagan believed with rape, incest, life of the mother. I do. I think most people do. I think most Republicans do also. But if you take a look, right now they're doing It's an amazing thing. Out of the federal government, it's in states, and people are voting. And I will say, Ohio is, let's call it a more liberal version, has been approved. Kansas, the same thing, a little bit surprising to a lot of people. But the people are now voting, and it's taking this issue that's been going on for 52 years and has torn our country apart, and it's giving it to the people to vote on. And they're voting. And many states have already voted. Others are in the process of voting, and it's bringing it back to the people and a vote of the people. And it's not at all radical. And again, you have to follow your heart. I happen to believe in the three exceptions. Most people believe in the three exceptions. Most Republicans believe in the exceptions. But they don't want to see an abortion in the 9th month or the 8th month. Almost everybody agrees to that. And they certainly don't want to see, in the case of the governor of Virginia, the former governor, I might add, who said, we set the baby aside and then we decide what to do. Meaning, what do? We execute the baby. That's a radical, horrible position. And some people want that. I don't want it. Most people don't.
Thank you. Can I just pivot really quickly to another question about, you brought up health, Harris. You're an active man. We see you golfing all the time. But if you win, you'll still be president at 82, which is older than Biden is right now.
But not mentally. Look, mentally.
Here's the question.
He's shot.
You've heard these questions already, have you not? Again, this is the National Association of Black Journalists. So right there, you should expect to hear something different, see something different. You feel me? Just automatically. And we don't. You know, like, this is not important at all. At all.
But most people,
would you consider?
Most people, I know many people in their 80s.
And I agree with him on that. Like, you know, age is according to is not according to your number. It's according to where you're at. You know, I mean, we've seen some 101-year-olds that are like, you go, girl, you know, and then there's some that are like, oh, you know, and you know, you look at Bernie Sanders is something. Diana Ross is 80 years old. Diana Ross. And she's still parading back and forth in 6-inch heels at 80 and being amazing. I just watched even again. Sometimes I just go through the chat where I just eat my fix of certain things. So I don't know, in the last week and a half or something like that. One day I was like, let me find something Diana Ross. And I found this year she was in, forget what state it was. But she came out, you know, she always be wrapped in furs and flowers and feathers and shit. And she looked amazing. Man, 80. And then she started with her Upside Down, You Turn Me. And then that's the band. And then she goes, boy, you turn me. I mean, that sensual, sexy voice was still there. That's 80 years old, though. You feel me? So it's who you are at 80. But for her heart being bad, my grandmother was still attractive. She was sharp. She was everything, beautiful. She had a bad heart, you know? So we see that's just a non-question. It's just a non-question. You ask Biden that when he tiptoes out like he's got his diapers full and needs to be changed. There's no need to ask him that. Especially now, even more so, I'll double down on my rebuke, because Biden's not even in the race no more. So he's not even running against somebody that's old. So just y'all come up with something original. Come up with something black to ask. These are not black questions.
And then 90s that are in
not the shit that black people are sitting around discussing with any political field, whether it's 2024 or 2020 or 2000. Like, this is not important to us as a people. We don't care.
Great shape. Some of our greatest leaders. You look at throughout the world history, the greatest leaders, some of the greatest leaders in the world were in their 80s.
But here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if you felt that your health was declining? Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
And who would make?
I think you should move on. You actually got to a straight question and a straight answer. He said, "Oh, absolutely, done. Move on."
I'd know.
How would you make that decision?
I think I'd
Now,
know.
how would you make that decision, bitch? You asked him already. You said, "But if you knew that you were declining, would you step down?" He said, "Absolutely. Move on. That's it. We're done. That we're done." How would you make that decision? What would you be wearing when you made it? I mean, is that going to be a follow-up question? I'm not being ridiculous. It almost sounds like that's what she would ask. I can't.
If I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated
Oh my
me,
goodness.
and I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That was that wasn't a question. She
Sir,
didn't
you
ask
can
me a
answer the
question.
question.
She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated
You
your
can
statement.
He's right. That's her. That's that style of journalism where they make a statement and then ask you, "Just this your such and such?" After they just gave you a full indictment. I hate that so much. Or when they want to make sure they get the propaganda out about you. Like so. Michael Jackson sits down for an interview. Now you've been charged. You were charged in the 90s with abuse of a young child, and then such and such you were abused, and like you making all these statements and shit. Like I can't, dude. I can't.
The
Sir,
question,
actually.
you said you would.
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If I
to step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way, I want people to be sharp. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test, to take a cognitive test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Well,
I took 2 of them. But let me ask you.
Yeah.
I would like to have people running for president. And I don't mean because they're 75 or 85. I think anybody running, I'd like to do it. People say it's not constitutional. I would like to have something passed where you can do it. I think we should know. I mean, I've watched what's happened in the last couple of years under this gentleman, and our country is a mess. We have inflation. We have the millions of people falling in. We have Afghanistan, which was the worst, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. What he has done to our country, and her too, what they've done to our country, she has been a horrible vice president. She's considered the worst vice president in the history of our country.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but would you consider taking the cognitive test
Mr. President.
I would love to
and
do
make
it.
it public?
Well, I've already taken 2 of them, but I'll do it again.
Mr.
I
President, how do you intend to?
I suggested, Harris, that let's take one. I said, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now, I'd do it with her too. I would do it with her also. You know what? She failed her law exam. She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she wouldn't pass the cognitive test.
Mr. President,
Are you saying she wouldn't pass? Just to be clear,
I'm just giving you the facts.
to be clear, you don't think
I'm
Harris?
just
how do you
giving you the
intend,
facts. She
and
didn't
look,
pass her bar exam, and she didn't think she would pass it, and she didn't think she was going to ever pass it. And I don't know what happened. Maybe she passed it. I
She
guess
did pass it.
There's a
She
man
did-
over
she
here.
did
I
in
think
fact
he
pass it.
must work.
Mr. President, I would love to ask you about January 6th. You've called yourself the candidate.
Again, bitch. We've already heard all these questions. Give a fuck about January 6th. We done. We're done. And we don't care. And none of their questions do anything for African people at all. But yet there was all this firestorm about him even being invited to come and speak. For what? These ain't black people. They're not asking black questions. It don't mean nothing. Damn. Oh my God.
Of law and order.
Yeah.
When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones. At least one officer lost an eye. One had 2 cracked ribs,
This is making a
2
whole
smashed
fucking
spinal discs.
war
Another
police
had a
statement.
stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, those people, patriots. I mean, I cannot with her, dude. Wow.
Well, let me bring it back to modern day. Like about 5 days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint, red spray paint that will never actually come off, especially in the limestone. It will never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on
What's
those.
going to happen to
My
the
question
people
is
that
on
tried
those
to burn down-
rioters who assaulted
Excuse me.
officers.
You have to
Would
answer.
you pardon
What's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
we don't give a fuck though. You don't sound like us. You look at her fucking hair. Like that ain't no sister sitting up there to me. That's just some corporate robotic shield for fucking white journalism. Why they have this association of black journalists, I could not tell you. Like, I can't.
Absolutely, I would.
No males on the panel at all to, you know, to just bring a male perspective and to challenge him. I mean, everything is wrong with this man. Trump is the least of the shit to even consider here. It's their ass.
They're
Pardon
innocent.
those-
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system. How come the people that tried to burn down Minneapolis, how come the people that took over a large percentage of Seattle, how come nothing happened to them? How come the
But
people
sir, we're
that,
talking about
how
people
come
that
the
were
people-
seen
no, no,
beating
no. We're
officers
talking
with
about federal
flagpoles,
buildings.
dragging them down the stairs. They're on
They
video. Have you seen that
Really?
video,
Oh,
sir?
really? Well, they
You would
shot-
pardon those? You would pardon those rioters?
They shot a young lady in the face who was protesting. They shot her in the face. You know, nobody died that day. You do know that. But people died in Seattle. Nobody died, but people died in
140
Minneapolis.
officers
You know,
were
people died in
assaulted that
Minneapolis.
day.
And nothing happened.
He's not even telling the truth. Plus, we know the white bitch that also was shot by the black Secret Service agent, alhamdulillah. There she was with her Trump shit on, and they were trying to get through this one door. You seen his hand come out, and they wouldn't get back. Boom, popped her. Done.
And nobody ever talks, and nothing happens.
Nobody died. Come on. I mean, I've seen interviews of some of the injured Secret Service police that were there on that day, and there's all the stuff is out there, man. Frontline did an excellent piece. They showed footage that most of the public has not seen, and that's the truth. Like, wow, that day, and they take you through the timeline, and they do split screens where they show you what Trump is doing at the time that this is happening and what's he doing at the time. The Frontline is so good anyway, but this is really good, man. Like, I know what happened on that day. I know what happened that day. I know.
To those people, but you went after the J6 people with a vengeance. And I'll tell you what about the cops that were, and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go in. What about that? Look.
Again, black people who think they would support this piece of crap aren't listening to the lower notes. He won't give you a direct answer, specifically raising for black people. Even there, when he's talking to the police, and you know I'm all for the police, you know that. Like, but he said he don't give a fuck that he's in front of a black crowd. You see what I'm saying? So, like, don't even just these people that are for Trump, that's supposed to be so-called black. First of all of them look fucked up. I ain't seen nobody. I ain't ever seen like one sister like, damn, she is kind of tight though. You know, just some fucked up looking. They look like they all have mental issues. Like they could. I don't even know if they're even real people, man. They could be clones. I don't know. But we're not bothered by these so-called people that are supporting Trump because it's a very small number. So when they tell you that he's getting 50%, he's getting 50% of these three people that normally vote Republican. It don't mean nothing. It don't. I'm over it.
You went after the J6 people with a vengeance. And I'll tell you what about the cops that
really up there thinking they're doing real journalism? Somebody should ask them after. So what did this interview of Trump do to move things forward for the black community? Go. Anybody can take it, and they'll sit there and look at you like you're an ice sculpture. They won't have an answer. They won't have it.
and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go in, go in, go in. What about that? Look, nothing is perfect in life, but
there is some truth there. I said at the beginning when this January 6th shit happened, that they were like, come on in, brother. There was a lot of that shit going on because I was pissed. Because remember, our whole thing was, this is not how they respond to black people. Like, you feel me? And so there is truth in that. There was some of them just being waved in. Plus, they knew plans to the Capitol. They knew where shit was. They knew how to get to the inner chambers. Listen, I've been to the Capitol building, everybody. It is a massive thing. Until you've walked up to it, you got to go by foot. You got to go by foot. You walk on the grounds, you see that the Capitol is a massive building. It is massive. I can't. It's, in fact, one year before I left Maryland, me and Joseph went down there and took a tour, and there's a restaurant, like the Capitol lunchroom or whatever it is, went and had lunch. It's a massive building. It's massive. They knew where they were going. They had inside intel, dude. They knew. They knew. They had help. They had inside help. They had inside help because the building is itself a work of secrecy. It's meant to be its own security. It's ushering everybody into the Capitol. Go in, go in, go in. What about there was some of that happening. Everybody wasn't ushering them in, but there was a lot of that happening though, which one of the things that pissed me off at the time. So I know that to be true.
Look, nothing is perfect in life, but you have people from Minneapolis, you have people just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C. They were having fist fights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying. They were desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems.
Talking shit about them because they were protesting the shit stain in the desert known as Israel. If they had been there on the side of that, he would have called them patriots, and they were the most amazing people. Like, I'm over it. It was a pro-Palestinian rally.
Systems of justice. That's why they went after me as a political opponent, because they felt they couldn't win without doing that. And we're going to win our cases and we're going to be vindicated. But I have to spend a lot of time on that and money. That's what they want. After the election, they won't care. Although in my case, I think they probably will, because the hatred is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before. And it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
What do you do on day one if you win? What's your first thing?
What do? I close the border. And I do two things, because I can do a lot of things simultaneously. I close the border. We don't want people coming. We want people to come in, Harris, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. They have to come in legally. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. So when you say, what do I do? That, and I drill, baby, drill. I bring energy way down. I bring interest rates down. I bring inflation way down.
You see, he's talking outside of this room. He's talking to his people. That I drill, baby, drill. That's totally white. It's totally Republican. No black person will give a fuck about it at all. So this isn't the only one, but I'm just pointing out that there's many other examples throughout this interview where he's clearly not talking to them, because I think he settled in very quickly when he realized they're not going to ask me anything that I've been asked already. He already has canned answers for all this stuff and side stories to go with it as like a little du jour. You feel me? Like, there's nothing going on here. We should be outraged and embarrassed by this National Association of Black Journalists bitches. Like, I mean, I'm over it.
And so people can buy bacon again, so people can buy a ham sandwich again, so that people can go to a restaurant and afford it. Because right now people can't buy food. Your grocery bills are up 40, 50, 60%, right? She's agreeing to me. Oh, she's agreeing. Thank you. I like you very much.
Mr. President, I think we are.
But it's true. Your grocery bills are up. And then they're mandating that you buy an all-electric car. You know, Elon Musk endorsed me, and he's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. But I'm against everybody having an electric car, okay? I'm very much against that. You have to be able to, if you want a hybrid or if you want a gasoline-propelled car.
He's very much against that because he had the fucking heads of the oil companies at Mar-a-Lago and said, if y'all give me $1 billion, once I get back in office, I'm gonna be good. Y'all gonna be chilling. So of course he's completely. I don't think everybody should have an electric car. I don't think everybody should have an electric car. So I get my $1 billion. So say, you know, they gave my $1 billion to do their bidding.
Having an electric car, okay? I'm very much against that. You have to be able to, if you want a hybrid or if you want a gasoline-propelled car. But you know, we have more liquid gold, gasoline, oil under our feet than any other country. More than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than any other country.
Not true. If they did, they would already fucking dug the shit up. They would have stepped over their grandmother's dead carcass to get it. You understand? So we know that's just not true.
I want to use it. I want to use what we have. I want to bring down prices, bring down costs, and I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people coming in are taking your jobs.
Project 2025.
I think we have to leave it there by the Trump team.
Look, I think we have to leave that via the Trump team.
So leave it. Well, that is the last word. Thank you so much, Mr. Trump, for coming today and joining
Again,
us.
still no kind of pleasantry. Sorry about the delay at the beginning. Kick rocks, nothing.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
They've been telling us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Great
Thank you,
honor.
Mr. President.
Thank you.
He wanted to cut him off.
NABJ will email about details regarding the conversation with Vice President.
That's a hateful bitch, dude. That's a hateful bitch. And again, we would have been here for the tone and everything, you know, like that's why you would have a National Association of Black Journalists and have anybody there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a political candidate. Just anybody there. They need to know they coming into the Black House. It's going to be automatically different here. We got questions here that you haven't been asked everywhere else. We have shit we want. You understand? Because rest assured that had this been the let's say the Muslim population in Michigan, let's just say, and they had him in for any reason, their questions would have been geared to what their needs are and what they want. Not this bullshit that there's nothing there that we haven't heard already or that he hasn't been asked already. It was a failure, dude. It was a failure. And it just was a failure. No men on the panel at all to ask any questions. No young people. They didn't do a audience question and answer session. I mean, it was a complete failure. A complete and total failure. So anything negative anybody wants to say about the shit, I agree with it. Damn it. Tell them I said. All right, let me read your comments, and then we're gonna start landing. Cheryl, you say he mentioned some good points that at least get the ear of the Black voters. Not in this thing, he didn't. And the little dog whistle stuff that he's saying is the meaningless shit that I pointed out at the beginning of my stream, where these brothers are falling for stuff that's like, it's not real. How are they going to tell you that they're going to do some shit for you at all or cater to your vote in any way when they have no history of any fucking diversity at fucking all in the Republican Party? At all. Everybody is white. The only black people you see is their little Sambo ass stooges that you can tickle their asshole with a feather and they'll go out and whistle like a fucking parakeet for these fucking people. I'm over it. Righteous indignation. You say, I watch a lot of faux news for the political theater, but the mosquito does look like a praying mantis. Now that will forever be in my head. And she really, because you know that God loved the praying mantis. It's such a divine creature. Wow. I even saw this one where they put something in a aquarium with the praying mantis to attack it or something, and just how that head moves. That praying mantis. Anyway, glorious creature. But yeah, bitch, the praying mantis. I'm over it. Cheryl, you say, well, let me go to somebody else that doesn't have 1,000 comments. Let's see. Black Winter, I'm out of context on the I believe it statement. Nandi Johnston, shout out to you and good evening. You say respect ICE laws, legal ports of entry. And did he discuss the 34 felonies? Nope, they never asked him about that. He rose up for the chair pretty easily, thinking from the chair pretty easily. Is he in his 70s? Yeah, he's late 70s, like almost gonna be 80. Yeah, he's in great shape. You know, like that's his age is not even an issue for me. Like it's not even an issue. It wouldn't have been an issue for me with even Biden, but for the fact that he fucking tiptoes from one location to the next and he can't remember anything. But we saw this. I was screaming this from the rooftop before it was even when he was running for president. All right, a couple of yours, Cheryl. Just a couple, because like I say, if you got all this to say, you can turn on your camera and come on and say it to me live. I'm not gonna sit up here and read War and Peace for you. I love you and I appreciate you being with me, but you know me too. You say Trump told nothing but the truth. This man spoke nothing but facts about Kamami because socially she is not black. Her ass is Indian. No, she's not black. That's facts. And even if she had been 100% like her mama and her daddy was black, the fact that you picked a white man, I don't care. You don't have to be Kamala Harris. Any sister, once you picked a white man, I take that personal. I take it personal. I'm glad you mentioned her because there's 2 short clips I want to show you to make a point about her. Because I thought this is what they need to be doing if she even has a chance in hell of becoming president. Because remember, it's always about black and white for white people. No matter what they say out of that slit, is always about race for them. So if this is Michelle Obama, they would have some shit to talk. And by their own metrics, their own reporting, their own statistics, Michelle Obama is the most educated first lady ever in the history of the fucking country. You don't need them to tell you she's the best looking because they're never going to even say that part. But I'm just saying, and Obama, as impressive as he is, wasn't good enough for their white ass because he was not white. If he was white, he'd be the greatest thing that ever lived. These same motherfucking slithering demons who claim they just love Trump because he says what's on his mind, their heads rolled off when Obama said that if he had a son, he'd look like Trayvon Martin. Don't tell me shit about white people ever. Don't ever attempt to do that. Don't ever attempt to do that. Go and learn. But I digress. I said if they had even a chance of her even getting anywhere close, this is the type of stagecraft they need to show. This is a short video. It's Kamala Harris visits Pascal's restaurant in Atlanta. You got to make people believe she's president already. She's in a very unique position that Obama wasn't even in, because she's already vice president. So she has the trappings of the office already. You see what I'm saying? So they need to use that. I don't know what it is with this Democratic Party, man. The leader, you know, the RNC, or the DNC, the head people. Like, call somebody like me to tell you what you need to be doing. You know, like she shouldn't be on Air Force 2. She should be on Air Force 1. And Republicans are the only ones that will bitch about it. Let them bitch. Because if they were in the exact position, they would use Air Force 1 for their vice president who could be president. You understand? So they're just not being smart. So they need to do more stuff like this. This was all of the ooh of it all. 1,000 police, and her motorcade stretches for 80 blocks, and there's 15 ambulances, and oh my God. See, this is the type of stuff they need to be showing to the public. This should be across every non-Republican channel and Republican channels if they're, because they'll play it just so they can talk shit about her. You need to, this out there, people need to see, oh, she's president already. You know, because remember, they were saying that about Hillary, and Hillary didn't even have the trappings of the office when she was running. But people were assuming as if she'd already been president. Especially some of these fake-ass black people who need to just fucking die off. But here is somebody who's literally in the office, has all the trappings of the office. Use that visual. Damn. So there she was, and oh my God, and she was amazing, and she's arriving, and but you need that. There's Raphael Moronak when he's grinning ass. I'm over it. Okay, and then there's just keep greeting some people inside. Let me get the next step. Yeah, she's greeting people. I'm not even play it because there's fucking music playing in the background. And I don't know why they can't make the distinction, since it's not an algorithm. They're watching it with their own white evil fucking eyes. Why they can't just see that obviously you would have no control over that. You're not trying to play it. It's not your music. You're not even, it's not the focus. Anyways, one more. Because as I say, this is the type of stuff that they should be plastering all over the airwaves so that people just get a sense that she's already president, you know. And yeah, she's already president. Y'all should just go with that, you know. I say she should be on Air Force 1, not Air Force 2, and the call sign is only, it has nothing to do with the airplane itself. It goes according to who's on board. So even if she's on Air Force 1, what we know to be Air Force 1, the 747, it will still be called Air Force 2, signifying that it's the vice president's on board, not the president. So let's fucking roll out the 747, bitch. Let's roll it out. You feel me? I'm not even voting for her. I don't care if the bitch win. I'm not into it. This is not my fight. But I'm just offering some very sound advice. Like, roll it out. Wait, where is it? Okay, last one. This is what the people need to see. Do you understand? President Harris lands in Atlanta for campaign rally. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You see? And then, ooh, you know, it's Air Force Two, but that should be the 747. But maybe a lot of people won't know the difference. There'll be a small population, a very small population, be like, Air Force One? They'll swear she arrived on Air Force One. They will swear it. Now they will be wrong. Okay, and let's see. Look here, and we want to get her coming down. Now, you see, that's a very good look with the military and the Secret Service coming out. You see, and the car parked just there. You see, this is the type, use this. She'll take forever to come out. Like you should be sitting there waiting for their ass. She came right out. She's coming from the upper stair, not the lower one like Biden. That's what you need. That imagery, you know, so people know she's already president. Because there's a lot of population of people who just can't, they have no vision at all. Just, they can't see nothing without seeing it. They can't have no imagination. So this would be in their mind's eye. They saw her coming off of Air Force One. They saw the motorcade. Ooh, it was President Harris. Like, she's already in the office now as vice president. She might as well just continue, you know, and that should be their thing. But it's one party playing good cop, bad cop, and they'll find a way to fuck this up. And I still maintain Trump is going to be your president in 2024. Watch. I don't know who these people are that she's standing there for 10 years, 15 years talking to. Nobody cares. And they should, those same people are with her at Pascal's. So y'all don't need to talk. She comes down, she greets a couple people, she's there 60 seconds. Get her to the motorcade, let's see the motorcade moving. You got to use stagecraft, man. I'm telling you. Because what? Before Trump was even the fucking president, he's got no access to the office. There was flying in on his damn private jet, calling it Air Force or Trump Force One, and he'd have the airplane as his backdrop for his rally wherever he was at. I can't. Last comments. Just see if I missed anything. The mass shootings, Cheryl, you say yes, that's correct. Law enforcement and white supremacists are committing those mass shootings in the black neighborhoods in Chicago. Yeah, and I may need to do another video yet again, another one on that, you know, as a reminder, because I'm convinced, and as I said, I've shown, you know. And when I did that long piece on it, I remember we had some security camera footage on one of them and some other stuff. It was a well done piece. And yeah, my whole thing was to lay out my case that these shootings that are happening in these major cities with just black people only at major holidays are the work of white people. And I proved that. I did that. I proved it. Righteous, you say, I love how the right wingers spout family values in a country that is built off of narcissistic values and rugged individualism rather than communal ideology. That's a very good point, because those things would come hand in hand with family values. You go on and you say she is the female version of Trump, just brash. I think you were talking about the praying mantis. I don't know. Who are you talking about? Nandi, I read that. You say pardon. I read that. Pierce, R. Pierce, shout out to you. You say could have asked what he will do to the representatives in Flint. I love that. Michigan, that still have not completed making the water safe. Would he give them a timetable, a time limit, and what penalties if not complete? That's a very good question. Absolutely. Again, there's so many things they could have asked him that would have mattered to Black people, and not just their fucking careers, man. I'm over it. And the Fox News bitch, I would argue the praying mantis, she might be a member of the Black journalists, but she should have been there. Because if this is the National Association of Black Journalists, the implications, you came here to Black journalists to talk about Black issues. That bitch don't fit black issues because she's on a white channel trying to be white. She should have been up there at all. I'm over it. Nandi, you say at first it was said Kamala's mom is Indian, her dad Jamaican. Now it's being said the latter is Irish Indian and moved to Jamaica when he was young. I don't care. I'm over it. For me, I don't get that because I'm a very consistent man. What have I told y'all? I used to for a while, back on my first Jedi channel, the not the other one now, the 23,000 subscriber channel. When I was on this thing about these fucking mixed people, when I was talking about the keys to liberation of our people, when I be talking about how we got to weed out the weeds from the grass, one of the weeds that I was saying have to go is these mixed people who can't make a fucking decision about who they are. Pick a side or move on. Because I don't want to hear, because I would have just took Kamala as a Black woman, period. Just on sight to see her. And by the way, this before she's only gotten just declare all press now. When I first saw her, when Obama was campaigning for her to be to the Senate, her hair was a little bit more coarse. And since that, I've seen some video in recent weeks of something. Go and do it. You'll find. And you'll be like, yeah, her hair was a little different. You know, but still, I would have taken her as like Tia and Tamara, or the actress that looked like them, Essence Atkins, a fucked up name. But I would have put her in that class, like, oh, she's one of them, but you know, she Black. You know, when you start saying you're something that you don't look like, now I don't like you, because we wouldn't have mistaken you for Indian. Nobody was going to come to you and do this and ask you where was your sari at and your dot on your head. No, she's never been asked that anywhere. I promise you. Since birth, no one's ever asked her because there was no need. So the moment you start proclaiming something that's not obvious to me, and I would have no need to know it, then I don't like you. I'm same with these fucking gay people. Why are you telling me this? Unless you are sashaying and twitching, I wouldn't know. So the moment you have a need for me to know something that is not obvious to me about you, then I don't like you. Because why do you want to tell me that? You're trying to other yourself. Like you know, like that's something better. So in the case of Black people, when they do that, it's like you trying to be some exotic Black in front of me. I'm a Black man, and there's nothing else I want to be. If I died 50 times and came back every time, I come back as I'm Black, period. Well, a continental African who was never born in this bitch. That would be the only difference. But the moment you start saying you're something that is not readily obvious, then there's a motive of why you're doing that. And I don't like you. So I appreciate that comment, Nandi. You say Miss Obama is beautiful. She's beyond beautiful. She's stunning. And for someone who stood in front of her personally and met her in real life, I can tell you it's even more than that. She's a stunning woman, Michelle Obama. I could have seen her at the grocery store. She didn't have to be Michelle Obama. And I still would be like, oh my God, who was this lady? Like, who was that? She's stunning. There's certain women that you could be beautiful all day, and that's all good. But it's a different something when you behold a woman who is stunning. There are women, I've experienced it, and Michelle's one of them, that are stunning. There's no other word. It's a perfect word, because you're so vexed by their whole everything that you without words. A beautiful woman, you say, man, she's really beautiful. Damn, she look good, or whatever. And you could just go on. But a stunning woman, you lose words. It's too much. She's just, damn, she's stunning. Like, what did I just see? What did I just experience? What did I just feel? What did I just hear? It complexes the being. You go on. You say, Barack is charismatic, highbrow, graceful. Omarosa said that pissed them off. Yeah, because he wasn't theirs. If he had a white bitch on his arm, they would have loved Obama from the beginning. If he would talk like a Republican or just anybody, he could have still been a Democrat and been anything. But that he had that tall statue and them two little girls. And whereas our black ass might want to be, it don't matter, and we're more accepting and all that, fuck all that. Everything is black and white with these people, period. Because Michelle made him a whole black man to them. So they were very nervous. Very nervous. Because they know what a real black woman is like and what a real black man is like. So even if he mixed, they knew that was a real sister standing behind him from the south side of Chicago. They know. They know what I know. You go on and say Oval Office situation, room experience. We feel you. Yeah, she's got it all. I'll just pick through these because I thought this was. Yeah, and that 300 million is from Zionists. Trust and believe. As I said to my audience when they did the first, when she already raised like 200 million or something first, I was like, you don't know anybody right now who donated to her, and you didn't. You didn't. You don't know about nobody that did. I make the same claim now. Okay, I'll just read a couple of these, Nandi. I see Maya Angelou's name. You said that reminds me of what the late great Dr. Maya Angelou said. And White answered, a white guy asked her at a restaurant if there were any other race or gender she could be, what would it be? Dr. Angelou calmly replied, oh, I'd be jealous if I were anything other than a black woman. rest that queen's soul. And that's the best answer I've heard given to that, because there was even a video that was I watched not too long back where the dude was some YouTuber just out asking people, if you could be another race, what would you be? And I was pleased that all the black people was like, I wouldn't want to be nothing but black. But she was like, I would be jealous if I was anything other than. So it's even another class. So I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Yeah. We're the most impressive people on the planet, everybody, and that's why they continue to try and tear us down, you know, and wash us out and have you buy into this, we're all the same and nobody's greater than the other one bullshit. Well, there is. We're greater than them, period, the fucking end. And tell them I said it. Because, as I've said, what we know about creation is that Allah has made everything in degrees. Everything is in degrees. Everything is in degrees. If you're a parent, especially if you're a mother, and you gave birth to 5 children, they not all the same. They not. They're in degrees. One's tall, one's short, one's fat, one's skinny, one's this, one's smart, one this. You just different degrees, degrees. Allah does everything in degrees. Everything is in degrees. That's 100%. So nature is one of my teachers, as it's supposed to be, because I always tell you, creation is not for decoration. Creation is for information, everybody. And I want to show you Michelle in Versace while I'm talking about this. She punished everybody. She was like, I will show these bitches a window. Is it a window? Or is it a tab? It's a tab. This was the First Lady in Versace. Well, I can't enlarge it. Oh, well, there it is. Boom. When she walked out in that, I was just done. And I always call this, what the fuck? This is the punishing all bitches dress for me, because this was the last official state dinner. I forget who was coming and they were hosting, but this was the last one of his entire presidency. And she walked out there in that Versace. The hair was familiar, because I know a million sisters that wear their hair like that. When she turned to the side or the back, you see that onion. That's a sister, period. The end, she built. There's no question. Like, you looking at a black woman, you're going to have to squint and hope and start imagining certain black traits on her and stuff like that. That's one of the things that was so refreshing about Michelle, man. And her name is Michelle. That's just an around the way sister name. Michelle, you know, Michelle Levon at that, you know. And yeah, she just punished in this damn dress. Like, this was revenge for every bitch that had ever gave her a side eye or wronged her, especially some white bitches at any event she had to deal with in Iowa and shit when he was still running. This was punishing all bitches. That's what I call this picture. Punishing all bitches. Just punishing. They have to be punished for all the shit they did. And she came out and just stunned the entire world to death. I mean, wow. That's why I love one of the first interviews that I hated the interview, but I loved Barack's answer. It was fat ass Roland Martin. And he's gonna ask you, you're a black man. I would never sit down with another black man and say, why was it important for you to have a black wife? Like, that's like, I don't even know what that's like. That's like calling your mother and saying your full government name, saying, "Mom, this is such and such." And I gave birth to the pissy ass. I know who this is. Like, why would you say that to her? You wouldn't. So this question was that for me. Why was it important for you to have a black wife? But being the gifted man that Barack is, all he said was, "Have you seen my wife?" It killed me dead. It was so perfect. It was so perfect. It was so perfect. Like, all your questions would be answered if you've seen her. Like, why would you even ask me that? But he didn't have to say that. He was just like, "Have you seen my wife?" Wait, I saw something I didn't see. Retrain brain. I'm not gonna love this. You said, "I love seeing Megan Thee Stallion twerking." Oh, that's old. Is that old? I think I read all I need to read. I just happened to catch something when I was looking over at the thingy. And I thought I saw something I didn't see before. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm not going to hold us hostage, everybody. And, oh, that is new. You say, "I love seeing Megan Thee Stallion twerking for Kamala. I'll vote all day for Kamala." If that's all you need is a twerk, God love you. Because Lord knows I can't. No, but I'm sure you meant that in jest. I hope. Like I said, I just don't have shit for Kamala. Because I've been consistent. I've never taken her as a black woman. I was always, because remember, my candidate was Bernie Sanders back when this whole thing was being connived. I was for Bernie Sanders, the greatest candidate for president to ever run in this bitch ever, because he's the only candidates ever run that will actually do the shit he was running on, because he's been saying the shit since we knew he existed on the planet. And we got over 40 years of receipts. We don't have to, I wonder what he's saying. He's still saying the shit even now. To now. Like when they were asking him recently, will you endorse Kamala? He wasn't jumping on the Kamala train just all quick like. He was like, there's some things she's going to have to say and really mean it in order for me to get behind her. I can't just throw my endorsement at her. And those things was the shit that why we were supporting him to begin with. The same shit he's been preaching forever. So I'm just trying to say I was never for her. And then the night that she had the t-shirts ready to go, you know, when she had delivered the line against Joe Biden, that little girl was me, you know. And that little girl was me. And she looked at it all dramatically. It was all very, I couldn't with her then. I can't with her now. And like I say, I'm not under any illusion of, I don't think she'll be worse than Trump. You know, obviously, I think she'll be better than Trump for people, but that's not a reason for me to go out and vote. Neither one of them are good for me as an African. You feel me? And neither one of y'all gonna do shit for me. Plus, she sat right there and said, if you expect me to say I'm gonna do something specifically black people, I can't tell you that. She sat there and said that. So if you expect me to vote for Kamala ever in this fucking life, I can't tell you that. So I'm just keeping the same energy, you know. And then it's always very suspect for me. Like, how could you called Joe Biden a racist and now you agreed to be his vice president? I'm only okay with that if you was going to push him down the stairs of Air Force One like week one. Maybe the first year in, just to make it look like you was okay with everything. You feel me? You push him down the stairs and now you're president. If that was going to be your reason for saying yes to being vice president, I could understand it. But you didn't. You know, instead you just been cackling through this administration and going along. And she hasn't really taken any real stances on anything. And as I say, she already counted me out as a black man. She didn't choose me. She chose Doug. You feel me? She chose somebody who look like me. That means she don't choose me. So you want to do some shit for people who look like Doug before you do some shit for some people who look like me. You show me with your imagery, who you chose, and what you said out of your face. And with your actions now since you've been in office, you've shown me. So I'm not voting for you because, and we've already lived through 4 years of Trump. You know, I have a passport now. I'm out this bitch. Back to fucking Gambia. So I don't really care. And I would advise anyone who doesn't have a passport, get you a passport now. Even if you don't know if you're going someplace, just be ready to leave. Because no matter who wins this election, it's going to be ugly because white people are the most violent savage on the planet Earth. And they always settle everything with violence while telling you if violence is not the answer. They have always settled everything with violence and gotten everything they have with violence. Do not as I tell you, do as I do. You understand? So I can't with her. And then there'll be a lot of females that are going to vote for her just because it's a woman, like they did for Hillary. You know, I'm with her. They love that shit. Especially white bitches, because again, it's always a competition between us and them. So we had already made history by having a black man be we made it to the Oval Office. We made it through the door, goddamn. Forget the politics of just we made it through the door. We made it through the door. And when he picked even the sniper fire bitch, I was like, she couldn't stand you on the fucking campaign trail. And she wouldn't have picked you to be her Secretary of State had she won. We got to stop being nice to fucking people these white people. They're not nice to us. They expect us to always do the benevolent, righteous, noble shit when we have power. And they don't do that. You think Hillary would have picked Barack as her Secretary of State had she won? Who thinks that right now? Who thinks it? That bitch would have been, not only she would not have been in my administration, she would have been banned from within 100-mile radius of the White House. I mean that. But there he was, took her as his Secretary of State, and that's still enough to get the bitch elected. So some of this will be sympathy and some will be desperation. Because it's the same choice. It was sniper fire or Trump. Trump had help. Because the Democrats didn't want Bernie, even though the entire fucking party wanted Bernie. The elites, the decision makers in the party, and the media, and the Zionists above all, did not want Bernie. So he was only helped by the media coverage that they refused to give Bernie after he won yet another caucus or primary. Nope, show an empty podium that Trump could possibly speak at. That we have no word that he's speaking at all, but just show something other than Bernie. And they would. He got millions of dollars of free airtime, Trump did. And they were so sure he wasn't going to win. Ha ha, kiki they were on the airwaves, even up the night of. There's the documentary that Michael Moore did. Go and watch it. I forget the name of it, but it's Michael Moore. It opens up with the sound of the crowds and everything, and he shows these clips of the news people laughing about Donald Trump like he's a total joke, like you would bully somebody on a schoolyard, like, you know, that stank or something like that. And they were just so comfortable in their joy and their ha ha kiki, and that she's totally gonna win until the numbers started to change, bitch. And then it got very silent. Even the venue where Sniper Fire was going to have her victory speech, it literally was a glass ceiling building. I don't forget what state it's in and what city. The bitch never went to it. Sent some other dude down to say, well, everybody just going home for now, and we'll make a statement tomorrow. It got very real very quick because I sat my ass home. But a lot of people that were pissed off about, remember, Bernie was getting 100,000 people at his rallies, rivaling Obama. He was on fire. He had the biggest grassroots of anybody's ever run for president in this bitch. I could just give you the statistics and the numbers. But without all of that, I'm just trying to tell you, this was the guy. They pissed a lot of people off. Remember, there was Susan Sarandon and there's a black actress now. Is it Morgan Freeman? I think it's this tired ass. There's something, but there they were at the convention. Remember, they weren't letting people in, and it was trying to shut down Bernie supporters, and they were calling them Bernie bros on the media. I mean, the evil I saw come out of this political system then, I'm like, fuck the Democrats forever. I don't care if they'll never fucking win again. I don't care if Hitler comes back this bitch and wins. It won't matter. I'll never vote for these people again because they denied the people democracy. They denied it. While this year they're telling you democracy is on the line. No, bitch, because you took it off the line when everybody wanted Bernie. What I'm ultimately trying to get to say is that a lot of people just said out of spite went and voted for Trump. That helped his numbers. That helped his numbers. Add to that the millions of dollars of free airtime. They gave him the presidency. The Democrats did that, trying to stop Bernie. Even Trump, when he was campaigning for the 2020 or 2016, the 2020, because I can't remember, but one of his rallies, when he was talking about the Democrats, he goes, and they did it to you again, Bernie. They did it to you again. They did it to you again. He literally said this in front of his thousands of fucking people watching, at his rally. He was even acknowledging, because he was the only one beating Trump in the polls consistently. Then they just stopped showing those polls. They would just show Joe Biden and then speculative polls of people that weren't even running. And, well, let's do a poll of if a cat could beat him. And it was just ridiculous. They went to every link to stop Bernie Sanders, man. That can never be forgiven. Never. And so a lot of those people went and voted for Trump just out of spite. And a lot of them sat home like me. You understand? I was over it. So that's not the climate now. Bernie's not in the race. In fact, nobody is. They still have disrespected all of the Democratic Party because they still could have said, we really want Kamala, but let's put it through to a convention and let her, debate some other candidates and let's make it legitimate for the party. And they still didn't do that. They just coronated her and boom, look, she has 200 million. She's, oh my God, the whole country loves her. Suddenly, quick, go, Van Jones, go and cry on CNN like you always do, butt boy. Get your ass over there and cry on CNN. Quick, close up on Van Jones. Close up on Van Jones. And that's what they did. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. See what happens. Her vice presidential pick even ain't no black faces even. So it'll be another white, probably a Zionist. So another white man. There she is. Fuck her, dude. Culture matters to me. I don't give a fuck who you are. And it matters to everybody else on the earth, quite frankly, except for black people in this country. Culture matters to me. Black is always first with me. That's natural to my being as breathing. And I believe it to be for everyone. And when you're not that, it's because you're doing the other shit on purpose. And I don't like you at all. That's how I feel about it. So anyways, let me just say thank you to everybody for coming and being a part of the stream. I didn't even believe the Michelle Obama punish you picture up there. I didn't realize it was really still up there, to tell you the truth. But yeah, that's the queen of everything. Michelle LaVaughn Robinson Obama. She is everything. What a blessed man Barack is to be who he is. It's hard enough for anybody, male or female, to find someone who matches you or at least could take you and, And he found it, man. That was another gift from Allah. A gift. A gift. She is the kiss. Man. So, we will be together again soon, everybody. If you're new, you're seeing me live, or if you're seeing me recorded now, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I don't overload my viewers with a billion videos a day or a week. I speak when I feel like, you know, there's something important that I need to communicate and all those things. Also, I remind everybody that my GoFundMe and my Cash App is ongoing. You can donate to my Cash App, to the Jedi 1814. The link for the GoFundMe is always under every single video. If you want to go, you can donate. You can do that. That's fine. Don't forget to also thumbs up the video and share it if you are so inspired. And, you know, to all the regular stuff. Help the channel out. Again, another shout out to all my moderators. And I want to wish everybody a very good week. This week coming in. I had to kind of push it, but this is what I wanted to do today. I wanted to get this live stream in before the weekend was out, and I've done that now. So now it's time for me to get off of here, get naked, and turn this damn air on. Because I'm sitting under these lights, and then if you go back and you watch the stream, you'll hear when the air is on and when it's not on how I sound. This came about organically like years ago. I'm like, oh shit. Because I listen to everything back. I watch my work back at some point, and I'm always noticing, listening and watching for technical stuff, because I don't like for the technical stuff to get in the way of whatever it is I'm presenting. That should be in the background. It should be seamless for the viewer, you know? It shouldn't be stuff happening in the way, you know, and sound is a big one. Because I'm aware that, you know, people are listening to me on televisions. They're listening to me with headphones on. Some people have earbuds in. So, and then some people just have just out with their television speaker or whatever, or their computer. So I'm aware of those things. So for that reason, I try to run the air or run it sparingly so that you don't have to hear that in the play. You just hear me, and that's it. And when I play the clips, you hear that, and it's all fine. So I love you guys all. Have a great evening, and I will see you soon. The Jedi has spoken.